Yeah, Prophet Marshall Occurrence. So, this video is going to be about spiritual warfare, working spiritual warfare. This is a continuation of that. Because that's all we got going on over here, man. We're just working spiritual warfare because, see, we know that the Americans put me in a situation where it was witchcraft. Where they using witchcraft, psychological games and all of that, right? We read between the lines, man. I do. Very well, man. I read between the lines very well, bro. And with all this witchcraft and everything they use, listen, we charging it to the Americans. We putting it on their tab. We putting it on their tab, bro. What they doing with surrounding me with these witchcraft people like I'm stupid. We charging it to their tab. That's what we doing. You ain't gonna see no more game out of me because it ain't nobody that's game enough. We beat people like this 1,000,000 times. So from now on, I just charge it. I charge it to the Americans. That's what we gonna do. Which means you're gonna see things escalate out there. I'm telling you this as a prophet. I just got quick into my spirit. You're gonna see things escalate out there. That's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see everything escalate out there. That's what you're gonna see. That's how it is. You don't play games with us and you lost and you butthurt about it, and you know what I'm saying, you can't have a seat. You can't sit down somewhere. So we're gonna continue until it's over. But what you're gonna be surprised about is miracles. That's what season we in right now. Miracles. Spiritual miracles. Because remember, I can walk out of this situation anytime I'm ready. Why you think you got me? I can walk away. And it ain't nothing you can do about that. You realize that? I'm not captive here. I can walk away. Anytime I'm ready. Let's keep that in all proper perspective. While people act like they got some upper hand on me and I can just walk away. And then everything you got going on here in this neighborhood, in this community is washed away. I know it hurts. It hurts that you play with somebody that was more spiritual than your community, and you thought I was gonna lay down and die, and it didn't work like that. I know it hurts. It hurts that you played with me and you got what you deserve. I told these people, man, I mean, life is, you can't make a scapegoat out of a prophet. when somebody made a scapegoat out of a prophet, bro? My neck too strong, bro. My neck too thick. You can't make no scapegoat out of no prophet. Or whatever else, a sacrifice, a scapegoat, ritual offering, anything else you thinking. It's not gonna work with a prophet, buddy. We're the closest thing, and I say humbly, to angels. It ain't no way in the world you're gonna play with God's angels, bro. His real angels. That's all I'm saying. So, we're working spirituality, not witchcraft. But in this final hour, we're using spirituality in spiritual warfare. A constant focus on these people that are using witchcraft and divination. Right? And we're going to keep a constant focus on them until they get washed up. We don't sympathize with it. I don't have no compassion about it in my particular situation, because they shouldn't have played with me at all. That's all it is to it. That's all there is to it. That's why I'm glad my situation like this. Maybe you went and played with witchcraft people or something. Maybe you did. They came my way. In my story, they came my way. And that's why everybody vouchers for me. That's why everybody on my side, rain, sun, or shine, they're gonna be on my side. Because see, I know it's certain type of personalities that just want to be evil. They just that's it. That's it, you wouldn't be able to fix it. It wouldn't matter what you would do. It's certain type of people that's from the culture and all of that stuff that white people, they can't really articulate this that I know about. That's in black culture that want to just be evil. You just want to use witchcraft and try to be evil, and to you this is part of your persona. So you got to remember, in America, particularly, people are big on personas. What persona they hold. And so when it comes to witchcraft, they put that in their persona. Like I'm a witch, I'm a warlock, I'm a da. And they put it in their persona, right? They putting it in their persona. And it's just like, okay, that's why you can't get them off of it. You can't get them off of it. You can't get a witchcraft person that has this as part of their persona. Not like in another country. This is part of their persona in this country. You can't get them off that. You can't get them off of it. So it's no hope. It's no hope, bro. It's like, that's why we focused on bringing our spirituality against these people who play with me. That's just all there is to it, bro. It's no other way to look at it. I've studied this time and time again, and that's what has to be done. We have to focus our spirituality on these people, and some people, some Christians, some religious people ain't built like that. And you might think you using witchcraft to focus on human beings, but I can show you in the Bible when God says, "Suffer not a witch to live." Don't let a witch live. The Bible makes it clear. Don't let a witch live. I didn't make the rules. I just enforce the rules. The Bible says, don't let a witch live. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, listen, people will say they got a relationship with God, but God say, suffer not a witch to live. And then a witchcraft person will talk about God. That's brainwashed. You know God ain't got no love for the other side. You know that. That's common sense. God ain't got no love for the other side, bro. And you know what I mean. You know what I mean now. Everybody say they so smart, then you know what I mean. God ain't got no love for the other side, bro. You know what I'm saying? So the Bible says, suffer not a witch to live. That's what the Bible says. Suffer not a witch to survive, to live. Don't let him even live. It didn't say try to convert him. It didn't say try to talk to him about God. It says suffer not a witch to live. So that's God's attitude about it. That's God's attitude about it. That's God's feelings about this, not mine. That's God's feelings. You know what I'm saying? So people that use witchcraft need to know that God ain't got no love for no witchcraft people. In the state that they in, you know what I mean? In the state, okay, so then explain the scripture, suffer not a witch to live. Is that love for the witch right there? Is that love for the person that practice witchcraft right there? For these evangelists, you see what I'm saying? At that moment in time, when God is telling you, where the Bible tells us to put them to death, is that telling us to love them? Is that love right there? Love is gone at that point. And you're commanded to put them to death, right? At that, if following this scripture, where's the love at the moment when God says, suffer not a witch to live? If you're mature, you understand what I'm saying. If you're mature in Christ, you understand what I'm saying. It says, suffer not a witch to live. Where's the love right there? It's past the love. See, it goes to a point where it's past the love. And that's what it is. It's a point where it's past the love. And so you can't talk to certain religious people You can't talk to them, man, because they don't really know what's going on, man. Just like your mom and your auntie, that generation ain't gonna believe you wholeheartedly because they don't know how bugged out these people are. But a younger generation gonna understand exactly. We understand these secret societies and all of these people. What they don't believe is that I survived because they knew they was trying to kill me and sacrifice me. It didn't work. It didn't work. You know what I'm saying? They thought I would die. They thought I would kill myself. It didn't work. Okay, so I already know what it was. You know what I'm saying? That's why I can stand in this situation 10 toes down and it don't mean nothing. Because I'm stronger than this situation. I've been through it a million times. That's why I know what I know. You know what I'm saying? Unlike them, I'm right about what I know. Or what I know that I know. And as a spiritual warrior, I'm telling you, in this last hour, something that you did not expect. Here in America, we have to fight persistent witches and warlocks in spiritual warfare. This is something that you didn't expect. And most people are addressing it, but they're not addressing it like point blank period like that. We have to face witches and warlocks in spiritual warfare using fasting and giving offerings as two foundations to fight them in spiritual warfare. What I have to make clear is that people that think they on my side, listen, bro, we share a common enemy. That's all. In many cases, people share a common enemy. I share a common enemy with you, but that don't mean me and you together. I can see even this morning, people trying to make sure the block was clean and all of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stupid. You know what I'm saying? I know people's trying to make the block clean and make sure there wasn't nobody out there playing around or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine, but that don't mean, I mean, to me, that's still kind of sharing a common enemy. And if you bring it on yourself to try to help me, okay, but I'm gonna say it like this. That don't mean I'm gonna let you take a step further closer because you decide to be out there doing what you're doing. That don't mean you get to step closer into my sphere of influence, if that makes sense. Into my spirit. Let's just leave it like that. That don't mean I'm gonna let you draw closer to me because you out there trying to help or whatever. That's great, but I can't let anybody take a step closer. I'm a one-man show. I've been doing good by myself, and that's how I want to keep it. That's how I want to keep it. Now, if we got a common enemy, okay, that happens in many cases, especially with people that's just as trifling as these people are. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we're gonna share a common enemy, but that don't mean we on the same side. Because if we were, this is how we know. If we were, we would have the same objective. See, Sun Tzu taught this in the Art of War. Sun Tzu taught this in the Art of War. And I'm paraphrasing, that your military must be animated as the leader. They have to be animated just like the leader. Which means it's a whole bunch of mini me's, like on the same stuff I'm on the same wave, on the same worldviews, just like I am. That's your army being totally animated as you are. That's what Sun Tzu taught in the Art of War. So if we're not animated in the same way, after I come out, after I leave from the streets and I come back in, right? And then you have this position of just sitting back. That's not being animated as I am. What you're trying to do is duplicate the master, because the master is the blueprint for what works. The master is the secret sauce. So if I can make people animated like myself, this would have been over. This would have been over. Because you would have been fasting like me, you would have been giving offerings like me, and we would have been finished this. And you would have been focused on these witchcraft people and these Freemasons and Illuminati members and these warlocks and witches and everything else. You would have been focused on it like me. We would have knocked this out. It would have been over with. So then that shows me that you're not animated. We come from two different camps. Because if you was part of my camp, you would be animated as I'm animated. That's what it would be. But you're not. Okay, so then that's confusion among ranks. And it's no room for confusion. I'm too clean as a messenger. I'm too clean as a messenger. So it's no room for misunderstandings. If people are not animated like me, they're not fasting. I'm already fasting. I just came out from out there. I come in and take a spiritual cleansing as soon as I get done, because it ain't all that was thrown out there was witchcraft, psychological games, everything in between, rituals, everything. They're gonna try to throw everything at us when we out there running our errands and everything. So I done seen this pattern. So when they do this, we come in and go straight into a fast. Before you even settle into whatever you went and got, your food and all of that, before you even settle in, go into a fast, get all the witchcraft and energy, all the stuff they threw against us, all the spiritual work they put against us, animal sacrifices and everything. We fast that energy off. You see what I'm saying? That's what has to be done. Okay? See, I'm a little more advanced than they was anticipating. You know, as a Christian, I'm not one of them blind people that don't know the denominations of witchcraft. I know the different denominations. Okay, you got hoodoo. That's what most black people gonna use. It's hoodoo. A whole bunch of hoodoo. Oh, I know. I do have an idea. I've seen it. It's a whole community of hoodoo, and that's gonna be against me. So they got a secret meditation, and all of them against me, and all that's gonna do is end America. I guarantee you, it's hundreds of them meditating against me at one time. They pick certain times to meditate against me, like especially when I run my errands. Take heed. If you high ranking, they gonna all join together in meditation against you and do rituals and all kind of stuff while you running your errands, hoping that confusion happens or something happens. But everybody's on my side based on information. That's just that. See, information is more powerful. You can't just have spirituality. You gotta have information. If you just got spirituality and I got information that these people marrying children, I win. I got the belt. I'm the heavyweight champ. It's no way they're gonna overcome marrying children in America. Okay, so that's information that advance you past spirituality. No witchcraft ain't gonna ever beat that in nobody's mind out there. So it don't matter what you do or try to expose about me, that's gonna still be, they gonna still look at that over whatever you try to expose about me. That's the power of the prophet having high potent information. See, we don't just produce spirituality, we produce information. Jesus didn't just have spirituality, he had information. And people just didn't, they might read it and take it for granted and not realize what it is. It's not, it's high rank, it's the highest rank of information. That's what Jesus had. And Jesus has. If you like Jesus, you shouldn't be just spiritual. You should have high-ranking information. And that means not just you reading the Bible. You should be reproducing spiritual information. Okay, I've done that. That's the sign of somebody that's high ranked. You ain't gonna just be a spiritual person. I'm gonna have information. So, and nobody's gonna be able to come above it. So all we gotta do is just clean up all the witchcraft they tried to use last night and everything, and all the stuff they was doing. Like I said, those who was helping me, only way I can put that is that we have a common enemy. That's what we have. But I'm old school in my approach, which is, if you join forces with me, I expect a face to face. That's how I like it. You know what I'm saying? If we can't communicate face to face, I don't respect whatever that is out there that think it's on my side. Nah. That's people trying to play a goofy position, like this is us all together like a team. Nah, it don't work like that. We establish who the leader is. This is what old school did. We establish who the leader is. Right? Okay, and how we figure that out? The person with the most results, the best plan, and the plan that has worked. Not people that's just veterans, military veterans. That's not. You got to understand how I see it. I'm a student of Sun Tzu. I've studied Sun Tzu for years, not just 5 months ago. So I've studied Sun Tzu for years, right? I'm a student of Sun Tzu. I follow his teachings. If you don't have the same objective as I have, right? If you don't have that same objective, that's confusion. You going this way, I'm going this way, you doing this, I'm doing, that's confusion. Instead of all focused on the same thing. Like, that's what the enemies are doing. They focused on me, all of them. I'm not stupid, I know that. But it hasn't worked thus far. You call yourself on my side, but you're not focused like I am. You focused where you want to be focused. It don't work like that. If you do that, this is what I've said in the past, and I still stand on this. If you want to fight these people, right, just don't come here and see what I'm doing. Just fight them on your own. I'm fighting them on my own, right? And I'm doing what I'm doing, fighting them on my own. You fight them on your own. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. And that'll be more respected. But coming here and seeing who I am and trying to be around, acting like we together. Like I said, for people that clean up the streets, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to even put in a response on it, man, because it's the reason why is because it's so late. That's so late for you to do that now. Because you was confused about who I was. You know what I'm saying? You see what I mean? Nobody was really doing that. Nobody wasn't really cleaning up the streets. So you got to be understanding that really that don't go but so far with me at this point. I mean, with all this stuff that's going on with World War III almost on the horizon, I mean, all I can say, man, is I just don't have a lot to say at this point about everybody. If you can imagine, I don't have a lot to say. I really don't. I don't have a lot to say, man. You know, and because I know how it needs to be done. I know how I don't think some people believe that this could have been over. It could have been over. If people took my objective, I would say starting with about 4 years ago, 2022, when everybody seen I was giving offerings, I was fasting, If everybody animated themselves as I did, right? We would have been way further along than this. And who knows what direction it would have went. So see, this separates the men from the boys and the girls from the women. Because now we're talking about, this is the boring part, where it's not about excitement. It's about cut and dry, getting the job done, the objective. That's all this is about. That's all we doing here. It's no, great excitement about, it's just getting to work. It's no emotion involved. That's why I'm like this. See, people think I'm angry, I'm hateful. Nah, once I became a full-time soldier, after that, I just settled into getting my objective done. That's all. Once you do this for X amount of time, and that's how you know who the leader is. I'm cool and collected about what we need to do. It's not emotional anymore. In the beginning, we was emotional because of all the games. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff that was going on. Now we on the next level where my messages is all about objectives. And can you imagine? It's people that can hear my messages about the objectives, but be on their own agenda and doing what they want to do. It's frustrating for somebody to act like they on your side, but I can't get you to do what I need you to do. That's what a boss man gonna think. If I can't get you to do what I want you to do, but I need you to do, or how I will utilize you, then how you an asset to this situation? It's people that want the glory. They want to be. Maybe you're emotional. Maybe you're angry about what these people have done, right? And I get it. I know it's some people that have been through similar things that I've been through, and you just want to know how you can fight back. But I'm showing you how. With my own life, fasting and giving offerings to churches all around the world. That's what I'm doing. You can do that in your own life. If you are truly a Christian, you can do that in your own life. Besides joining my cause, I'm not saying you got to give me money. But at least be doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? At least be doing the same thing, man. So, other than that, man, can you imagine the frustration? People not doing the same thing. You could tell they're barely fasting. But they're talking about gang stalkers. They're talking about witchcraft. They're talking about all this stuff going on. But you're barely fasting. How can you even make it? Is my thing. That's how you know I'm balanced. Because I ain't just talking about giving money. I'm talking about fasting. It don't get to be that. I mean, it don't get no more spiritual than fasting. And, as a practice. That's truly spiritual, man. You got to lay down your will and to eat and everything, right? I just order groceries. And I'm not bragging, but I'm showing you what I do. I just order grocery, right? Like we say in the South. I just order grocery, right? Okay, so of course I want to eat something sweet. I just got all this food. I got cereal, everything. Of course I want to eat. I got vitamins. I can't even take the vitamins. But I'm not saying it for you to pat me on the back. You know what I'm saying? Like the scripture says, don't fast like the hypocrites and be changing your face and want people to say, and you're basically saying, woe is me, look at me, I'm fasting. See, some people take that scripture and they don't understand it. It's not saying you can't. I used to be like this when I was young in Christ. That I didn't tell people I was fasting. No, I didn't tell people I was fasting. And because the scripture says do not reveal it, wash your face, anoint yourself. And I think I was doing that in the beginning. But maturity came when I realized, especially if you come from a Southern family, when people fix you food and you don't eat. But you ain't telling them why. So maturity says, okay, I can let my family know I'm fasting. So they don't fix extra portions and waste food, and fix extra portions of meat and waste food. And they could have left that in the freezer for you to fix for yourself after your fast. But instead, they cooked it right then, and you was religious, and you didn't really understand the scripture, and its meaning, and you didn't tell your family, and they fixed all this food for you because you didn't want to reveal to them that you was fasting because you misunderstood the scripture. The scripture is basically saying, don't fast to let people, to get approval of people, to be for your own glory, to like say, look at me, I'm fasting. Because as a teacher, somebody got to talk about it, right? Okay, so the teachers is going to be talking about it. The messengers, the teachers is the ones that's going to be talking about it. Okay, so how you going to ever talk about it without talking about your own experiences? That's going to be the most relatable connection, if you will. You know, is you talking about your experiences of fasting. So understand that I speak about my fasting for educational purposes, for spiritual educational purposes, so that you can do the same thing, and we'll be animated the same way. Because people that's struggling with gang stalking, you ain't fasting enough. I'm telling you, that's what it is. You might fast a couple times a month. That's not going to be good enough in the heat of spiritual warfare. You got to fast way more than that. You know, you got to fast way more. I'm talking about like at least once a week. If you just do 1 day or 2 days, it's hard for me to even go 7 days without fasting. Sometimes I try to, but it's hard to go a whole 7 days and not do a fast, because I know what I can do. I can get work done. So you got to get your gears going. Like spirituality is work on a job, and just like you dedicate yourself physically to a job, you dedicate yourself to the spiritual warfare. You see what I'm saying? You dedicate yourself to this spiritual warfare, like you give these people your strength out here at these jobs. You do the same thing for God. You do the same thing for God. You give your time, your effort, your physical. How much physical effort have you gave God in your lifetime? None. No effort, no sweat. Some people ain't gave God no sweat. But you go out here all your life and give these people your sweat and tears, even sometimes. Blood, sweat, and tears. You give that to a job. But you don't give God nothing. You got to start looking at it like a working. That's how I look at it. And it's going to come with results and a paycheck. You gonna overcome gang stalkers. But if you just sit back on it and think you're going to be reading scriptures, and listen, bro, I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't steer you wrong. I wouldn't tell you nothing wrong. You can't just read a little bit, do a little something, be peaceful and all of that, and beat witchcraft and stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to show you. And I'll just be nice, I'll be cool and show love, even show love to these same people. It's not gonna work because they bent on evil. And if it's not this person, it's gonna be another person that's bent on evil. And you ain't gonna be able to cover all the people that's bent on evil. So if you do show love and your love happen to work with a couple of these people, it ain't gonna work for all of them. You ain't gonna convince all these people. You ain't. Because, I'm just speaking from my situation. Jealousy gonna come into play. People jealous of your spirituality. Now you gotta deal with that. Okay, you ain't sensed that yet? That people are jealous of your level of spirituality. On the other side, like they work witchcraft and everything, and they want to compete with you spiritually, right? And you ain't in the mood as a Christian for that. That ain't what you, especially now. You ain't in the mood for that. That's rubbing you the wrong way, right? But that's the energy, you know what I'm saying, where people want to act like they want to compete with you spiritually because of your reputation. You know, that's what comes with these reputations of beating these people. Once you start beating them, you're going to get a reputation for being a person that beat them. You got high rank. They're going to want to compete. You know, and you ain't gonna beat them just talking around and just like just doing videos, just sitting up on a video. Nah, that ain't gonna work either. That's why people frustrated. That's why people are frustrated, and I'm not picking on people. I'm not picking at people, but they breaking down on their lives and crying in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I know things are hard. I can give you some stories that's worse than what you crying about. Like for example, they put HIV in my body on purpose. That's what gang stalkers did. That's what the Freemasons did to me. They put it in my body on purpose. They sent somebody to me with HIV and gave it to me on purpose. Now live with that and tell me you ain't gonna be on one every day when the same people still playing in your face. You tell me you ain't gonna be on one every day. Okay, so they gave it to me on purpose. Now you might have been promiscuous, living a life of promiscuity, and some people would say you caused it on yourself. But you can't say somebody caused it on themselves and they sent somebody to you. That gets eliminated. Nah, you didn't. How you caused it on yourself and they sent them to you? And the person told me, that's what they don't realize. I got receipts. The person told me it was on purpose. That's how you might think, oh, he don't know. How you know for sure? Because the person told me. The person told me it was for something I did when I was young. Or I'm not hitting it right. The same person told me that. It's something you did when you was young. It's because of something you did when you was young. Okay, so based on what you was told, because of the gossip, this is why I am the way I am with black people. The gossip that you was told caused me to get HIV. You put it up, I'm putting it together. I'm putting it all together. This is what separates me from the average person that's been gang stalked and went through this stuff. I got HIV because you chose to believe what you chose to believe, and I don't even know what it was in totality. I don't know. See, in my world, from the old school, every man have the right to defend himself against certain information. If you did something, somebody got to come to you, especially in a situation like this. If this was in the 90s, the homies would have been came to me. They would have been came to me, yo, man, hold up. Let me tell you something, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta send an ambassador. You gotta send somebody. If you're too scared to send an ambassador, you shouldn't be in the jungle. You shouldn't be in these politics. You shouldn't be in these streets. You gotta have a middleman that can go as an ambassador to the other side. If you're too scary to do that, then you shouldn't be in the streets. See, I can talk. As you can see, I can talk to the other side. I can talk to anybody. So I'm not so scary. I can't confront these situations and talk to people about what's going on in the streets, right? That's another way you know who's real, bro. Because it's not just violence. It's that I can confront these issues. I can confront these real situations that everybody talking about. That takes courage. Especially in my situation where I'm the one that's the center of this of the politics. I gotta come and break this down to the people and make you question everything you heard. Like, okay, why wasn't you initially? Why didn't this person initially, my brother? Why didn't he initially have any problems with me? I was around him my whole life. He bought me a car. He bought my son clothes. Yes, I have a child. Oh, that came out of my nut sack, right? Okay, why he buying my son clothes? Like a baby shower, like when he was first born, he buying my son clothes and everything. Explain how me and him got that kind of relationship, but then we got some other kind of relationship based on what you've been told. You see what I'm saying? See, if you would have came to me, I would have set you straight. I would have told you all these different information. If you would have just talked to me and said, well, okay, you got a kid. Okay, do your brother did he ever hang out with you and your kid, or did he show any support for your family? Yeah, well, okay, yeah, he gave me some, he bought my son clothes, everything. Shoes, clothes. What would you think if you was me? This person, besides being your brother, let's scratch that. Let's just look at who this person as a person. He buys you a car. What would you think if this person bought you a car? That it ain't no beef between you and him. That in fact this person loves you. He buys you a Cadillac, right? My brother bought me a Cadillac. A 83 DeVille 4-door gray 83 DeVille that my stepdad had. He bought it from my stepdad for my birthday, right? How would you feel? What would you think about this? If this same person that's out here talking, he bought you, this same person, a car. They was that cool, where he bought him a Cadillac. That don't add up, bruh. It don't add up. He bought him a car. He bought me a car. He bought my son clothes. He was talking to my wife when me and her fell out. And you know, he seen my life function normally. So that's what you couldn't possibly hear from him because he's not going to paint that narrative. And that's why the term narrative have become so important in our day and time, because as people have become more intelligent, they paint narratives. And if you're not smart and you're not up to date on the dynamic of a narrative, you won't realize when somebody feeding you a narrative. Okay, I know when somebody telling me a narrative, because I can't, when I start asking questions around the information, I get you off balance. Now you emotional. Now you trying to sidestep all these other questions. You want to stick to this straight narrative. Nah, that's how. See, if you don't know how to sidestep a narrative, just ask questions outside of the narrative, around the narrative. Okay, how your relationship was with your brother? Oh, he gonna get emotional. Tell you, oh well, okay, you bought him a car, didn't you? Yeah, I bought him a car. We don't need the emotion. You bought him a car, right? Okay. You bought his son clothes when his son was born, so you knew he was a mature man with a wife and a child. Now you see what I'm saying. Okay, so you see, not only did you buy the son clothes, you acknowledge your brother having a son. That's the acknowledgement of that, right? Okay. See how it looks? When he acknowledged me as a father, and then you can listen to some ignorant, trifling information when he acknowledged me as a father. When he bought me a car, but you still can entertain his narratives. You got played, man. That's all. Like, I don't know no other way to tell you. In most cases, a little brother ain't gonna play a big brother. You ain't gonna ever play me. I know you in and out. I know my little brother in and out. He's influenced by me. I'm not influenced by him, but he ain't gonna ever admit it. Of course he ain't gonna admit it to save face, but he's influenced by me. Okay, so I'm the full thing. You know what I'm saying? That he influenced by. That's why you ain't gonna beat me. That's the movies where the little brother beat the big brother. That only in the movies, buddy. In real life, the older brother gonna know the younger brother through and through, man. He don't know me because his eyes wasn't open enough to know me. So some things got past him, and he ain't gonna never be able to tell you some stories about me. You see what I'm saying? Because he was too young to see what the stories was and what things was. Okay? And so I can't help you. I can't help you. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is show you what happened and what the situation is, and for me, that's why I got a battery in my back every day, cause I know that's what this is about. This is about a female. My brother being mad about a female. That's what this is about. This ain't about sexual abuse. This ain't about no sexual abuse. This is about a female, man. And how we know that for sure is because it was a rumor in my family that I slept with his wife. How is that not what this is about? But he going and telling my family, my cousins, them my family members, got them believing I had sex with his wife. Like I'm some dirty dude like that. Well, I'm gonna have sex with my brother's wife? See, that's how paranoid he was, man. Some people shouldn't smoke weed, man. I'm telling you. He one of them dudes, when he was young, we didn't really know if he could handle the weed, right? As a grown man, I don't as an adult, I don't think his weed is his vice, it should be his vice of choice. Because some people get paranoid real bad smoking weed. And it just do bad to their mental health. You know what I'm saying? And some people like me, I smoked weed so long, I just was a cool cat with weed and it didn't have no bad effect on me. Especially when I started back smoking it as a man, I take care of myself, eating real good meals, take vitamins, everything like that. So for me, when I used to smoke weed, I took vitamins, drank plenty of water, ate good meals, took care of myself, and so it didn't affect my mental health to smoke weed, you know. But he told me, I went to his house. This is pitiful, man. This is pitiful. I went to his house, and he was so paranoid, he thought cameras was in the walls. So he tore wires, live wires, electrical wires that could have shot this boy. I seen with my own two eyes in his house where he tore wires, ripped wires out the wall. It's a whole line of the wire being ripped out the wall. Like these new modern houses, right? Where the wires is all in the walls. He done found the wire and ripped it all through the wall. Oh, he didn't tell you that story, did he? He done tore up his house, ripping wires out the wall. That's how paranoid he was. He talking about there was cameras in his house. How somebody get in your house and put cameras in your house, bro? That kind of dude, they give me the heebie-jeebies. I can't even be around people like that. You ain't gonna never see me around people talking about, man, I got cameras in my house. Nah. That's the meth smokers, man. People hyped up on different types of drugs. I cannot be around people that talking about, yeah, man, you know, they got cameras in my house. My brother was like that. He ain't gonna tell you that part. Yeah, I think they had cameras. I think they got cameras in my house. You gonna listen to somebody like that, man? That he was paranoid about me, talking about I had sex with his wife. See what I'm saying? That's that real extreme paranoia stuff. Man, I hate to say it, man. When your mental health that bad, nobody trusts your credibility of what you say, bro. And I hate to say it. And I'm not gonna vouch it for you. Why should I? You know what I'm saying? You know, your mental health so bad, you tearing up your house. And you showing me, you telling me why you did it. He giving me these details. I didn't assume. He gave me the details. I'm tearing up the walls because it's wires in the wall. Somebody got cameras in the wall. I'm just sitting here processing this information. You know, I ain't saying I agree with it or not. Man, listen, if you got any kind of street background, you done been you done had a little paranoid episodes in your life. Keep it real. That you might not be too proud of. Most black people from the hood, if you went in the streets at any time, you got little paranoid episodes that you might not be too proud of. But once you become a man or a woman, then you grow out of that. Then you stop being scared either way it went. That's when we was kids. When I was a kid, yeah, I was a little paranoid about things because I didn't know what the streets was really. So I exaggerated it with my mind based on things I seen or the streets, what the things you hear about in the streets or stuff on TV. You gonna exaggerate it because you don't know really how the streets move because you're too young, right? But once you get older and you kind of really feel it out how it really is in the streets, you gonna be still tripping and paranoid like on some extreme stuff. See, a soldier, you get the last step of a soldier on the streets. The last graduation is paranoia. Some people don't survive paranoia. Once you survive paranoia on the streets, you good. But if you don't, you're going to be miserable, man. You can't even smoke weed because you're going to get high and think the whole hood against you. I know how people think. Street dudes, you think about somebody kicking in your door. You ain't never thought that? You been high? You sitting back high, yeah, you know. You thinking about everybody around you. You're more conscious of it, right? When you high. You think about the people down the streets. You think about everybody in the neighborhood. You thinking somebody might, you know, so you got these animated ideas in your mind that like people sitting back, plotting and thinking about kicking in your door. That's what's gonna happen when you smoke. You think you're gonna think people up the block is sitting back, yeah, plotting. You feel me? But only when you young, you gonna think that. When you young, you gonna think that. You get older, you really don't care either way. That's just what happens. You graduated. You know, the only way you really can graduate it is if you ain't afraid to die. You ain't afraid to die, you're gonna graduate all of that. That's just really what it is when you're young. You're so afraid to die, you just start thinking about all these different outcomes and what can happen and whatever. But yeah, you know, but I graduated that just like everybody else in the streets. But my brother didn't. Some people don't. They don't graduate that, and they become miserable, paranoid people, thinking the streets is against them and all this stuff, and all these people. I guarantee you, he still talk like that to this day. He didn't graduate those. Everybody don't graduate in the streets. Everyone don't graduate to the highest level, which is now I'm free from paranoia. You know what I'm saying? Where if whatever happens, I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? It's just whatever, you know. Some people don't graduate to that level, and they just remain on a teenage level, scared and everything, thinking everybody against them. You going telling the family, I slept with your wife. Man, come on, bro. Really? Me and you was on two different sides of town. How? How? She living with you. How? I got two women at the time, and they know about each other. I'm living a player's life. I got two women. Imagine me coming and trying. Imagine me coming and trying to live, be with your woman, and I'm in between two women. Imagine that now. No, this was my lifestyle when this happened. My lifestyle when he accused me of sleeping with his wife. When he accused me of that, at that time, I had two women that knew about each other, and it was an understanding. I wasn't manipulating either one of them. They were fine. They were comfortable with me being with two women, right? They were comfortable with the idea of it. They talked to each other on the phone, everything. So there was no manipulation, none. I ain't manipulate them to be like that either. It's just I had it. That's how I had it. That's how I had it. I was living like that, right? I had two women. I ain't have to be a player. A player gotta lie and deceive women and have them thinking lies. The next level is pimps and gigolos. Pimps and gigolos don't gotta lie about nothing. A player is right under pimps and gigolos. And the player got to bounce around and tell these women lies and manipulate. I didn't have to do that. My women was talking to each other on the phone. That's the higher levels that most men don't know about. You can be a player, but you can't be a pimp or a gigolo, you know, and that's different levels and lanes where it's just an understanding, you know, it ain't, you know, I don't have to hide nothing and everything like that. You know, so that's how I was living at that time. Back in 2010 going into 2011 and all of that, right? That's about the time when he thought I was with his woman, right? So can you imagine me being between two women and going to my brother's wife? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine me getting out of my lifestyle? I'm living on the east side of Charlotte. They on the west side. Can you imagine? Anybody from Charlotte know this? Only people from Charlotte gonna know how silly that sounds. You on the east side of Charlotte, going on the west side of Charlotte to be with somebody, your brother's wife. Mind you, I ain't got a car, but my girl got a car. I drive her car, right? But can you imagine me still driving my girl's car and going across town and to be with my brother's wife? It's paranoid. It's schizophrenic. It's schizo, bruh. Nah. And then I got honor codes, man. I ain't sleeping with my brother's wife. That's crazy. No, bruh. The whole time she was around me, I celebrated their love and union. He know that. And then look at the thanks I get. You know what I'm saying? I celebrated their love and union and everything like that, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was innocent in that because I had already been married myself. Remind you, it wasn't like I was jealous or I had already been married. By the time he met her, I had already been married and I divorced my wife. I already had a kid, everything by the time he met her. So I already lived a grown man's life by the time he met her. Can you imagine me living a real man's life, stooping to that level? I mean, people do it, but man, nah. People do it, but it's just that's not my character. He know that. That's what I'm saying. He know way better than that, man. You know what I'm saying? He know way better than that, bro. You know that's what I'm saying, bro. I could be offended at that when you telling my family. You telling my family members, my cousins, coming back and telling me this. That's how I found out. You know your cousin, y'all gonna be cool. Yeah, I'm talking to my cousin. She telling me, it's a rumor in the family, I slept with his wife. I'm like, what? I'm hearing this back in 2015, right? I'm like, what, man? I'm tripping. Mind you, she ain't in North Carolina no more. Okay, so that could have only been referring to 2012 and back to one of the time I said 2010, 2011, 2012. Between those 3 years, that's the only time he could have been referring to because she left town June 2012. By June 2012, she was gone, living back with her mother, right? Okay, so I heard this information in 2015, which was 3 years later at best from the time she was there, right? But who knows how long he was telling people this in the family. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's all I'm saying, bro. And so see, with that situation, am I painting a narrative? That's real. And mind you, this is a black ghetto family. This is a black family by everybody's standard. You know what I'm saying? So imagine this coming up in my black family that I'm sleeping. I slept with my brother's wife, and I find out about it in a roundabout way, just one day casually. Not that she called me up or telling me she had something to tell me. I casually found out about it, which means this rumor probably happened a couple years before I was told, which was about 2013. That's about right. The year after she left, he started talking about it, saying stuff that never happened. Now you gonna trust that kind of person that's saying stuff that never happened? You gonna think that's credible? That's what I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. See, you should have came to the older brother. You should have did that. That was stupid. See, That's how I know how people think. If it's me, if it's black people, and a younger brother come to me about something, I'ma still go to the older brother. This is a black family. I'm gonna go to the older brother and see, can he talk about this situation more intelligently than I'm being told? Can he kind of hit it from a different angle, different, you know what I'm saying, different ways, and talk about this more fluently than what I'm being told right here? I'm gonna see what I come up with talking to this brother, this older brother. I want to see what he can give me. And see, if you would have done that, I would have gave you exactly what you're getting right now. I would have gave you other information that you expect out of an older brother. Where now I'm telling you stuff you couldn't possibly knew about, which was he was going around telling my family I slept with his wife. That's some older brother stuff that I'm gonna tell you about him. What he doing? Going telling people I slept with his wife. Which means he probably told my mom. He probably told her too. Man, I wouldn't doubt it, man. He probably told everybody, bro. I mean, I just assumed the worst. I just assumed the worst. He probably told everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? If my cousin's coming back telling me this, man, he probably told this sob story to everybody. Everybody he hung out with, everybody he chilled with, he probably told them. So anybody he smoked with, drank with, the family, he probably was telling everybody this. I had to go through that. And so that's really what, that line right there is what kind of probably pushed my family a little away from me. Cause now they thinking, oh man, you don't know what to think. You thinking, man, I'm in and out of town. That's what's gonna make you skeptical. Like, okay, every time I hear about him, he out of town. He ain't never in Charlotte. He always leaving. Okay, so when did this happen exactly? You know what I'm saying? See, that's going to be the skepticism right there. And then I'm always moving around. My cousins know that about me. I mean, imagine me focused on somebody else's wife. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something about me and other people's women. First of all, I personally, my rules and regulations is I don't even want somebody else's wife. I don't get off on that because it's too much emotion between them two people. It's too much emotion and they all tied up in each other. I've been a married man, so I know. You all tied up in that woman emotionally. She tied up in you. And you section her down every day. I don't want that. I don't want that. No, I want something for me. I want something that I'm the only one. That's me. I don't get off on running up in another man's woman. That ain't never been my style. Ever. That's what I'm trying to show you. That ain't never been my style, bro. And this dude know that, man. He know I ain't never want for no woman. I ain't never want for no woman. I could get one anytime I want to. If I really wanted to, now. I could. But I think like a real man. I mean, I'm myself. I gotta get myself together. I come first. I gotta get myself together. It's backwards to try to pursue a woman and you ain't got yourself together. What's that gonna be at best? Sex, and that's it. I gotta get myself together. I ain't thinking about no woman right now. I gotta get me together. I gotta get myself back together while I'm cooking in my own apartment and everything like I used to. You know what I'm saying? I like to cook, all of that stuff. Everybody know that about me. Last year, last March, I used to cook for my ex-wife. Cook everything. Cook food and everything. Country fried steak, pork chops, lobster, oysters. I cook. I burn. And I did that for all my women. When my woman was coming to my apartment, I cook her spaghetti, omelets for breakfast. For breakfast, for lunch. She put it in the Tupperware, take it to put it in the Tupperware and take it to work. The food be so good, she take it to work. So I get up in the morning, cook my woman omelets. I'm that type of dude. I don't lay in the bed and then my woman go to work and I get up with her, cook her some breakfast, have her food ready. See, I played that position, bro. You can't tell me about being no real man and all of that, man. You can't tell me nothing about it, bro. I mean, I could take your advice. It's always some good advice you can give me, but you know what I mean. No, I played that position. Am I perfect? No, I made mistakes. But I'm the type of dude get up out my bed and cook my woman breakfast. Some people ain't got that discipline. They ain't got that discipline to get up out their bed and not just lay there and wait for that person to leave. You get up with them, cook breakfast, clean up, make love, get up and make love early in the morning. See, some people don't do that, man. See, I used to do all of that. Make love to my woman before she go to work. She go to work smiling and she done got off before she went to work. You know what I'm saying? And then I cook her breakfast and everything. Boom, she take the breakfast with her. Everything, man. That's how I treated my woman on the average. You know what I'm saying? And she could vouch for that. That's why still to this day, she still texts me all the time. She texted me, not too long ago, left me an email. But I ain't biting, you know what I'm saying, until I get myself together, Okay, then I'll tell you, won't you come see me or whatever, and I might throw that out there. But right now, I need to get some things done. I need to get myself together. But I'm a very good man, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to my woman, you know what I'm saying. But more times than not, women start putting their hands on me first. Putting their hands on me because, I'm laid back. You know what I'm saying? But you see how turned up I am. But some women will take it for, because you only giving them love. A woman that, ain't got no street intuition. And a lot of times, us street dudes, we gravitate to these good girls, these suburban, fresh, good, suburban, clean women. You don't want no women from the street because you don't trust them. You don't trust no street girl. You know what I'm saying? She might be talking to dudes in the neighborhood, in the block. She might be working for them. So you don't gravitate. You don't have sex with them and, turn up with them and party with them, but most dudes, that's where you might get a little paranoid because you don't trust, what she doing with the with the streets, when you ain't around, Think about it. So you wind up getting you one of these little suburban girls, but she ain't got no street intuition. See, that's the bad part about it. So she don't know that you a real one. You know what I'm saying? Cause you showing love to a suburban girl, showing love and not being toxic. She think you a chump. But a street girl can read between the lines. Okay, yeah, he real, but you see what I'm saying? See that what I'm talking about? And she don't cross that boundary where she put hands on you or something like that. She don't cross that boundary. Because she already know you're real without having to see you in action. She don't got to see you in action to know you're real. You know what I'm saying? Now, these girls without intuition, these suburban black girls, they going to scream at you, put hands on you. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, yeah. They going to drink, smoke. And because they got thugs in their family, they going to think they 100 like you. Because everybody got thugs in their family these days. And let's piggyback off of that and say, people get influenced by thugs in their family. You start hanging with the homies in your family. You get influenced by that, but you got to make sure that you really ain't gonna merge in that lane. Not in all cases. So, but these days, girls want to be dudes. Act like dudes and stuff. That's the big problem. Yeah, they do. And that's how physical altercations happen. But if a female understands certain things, those things don't happen. See, most ghetto women gonna see me as a nice dude, and then they gonna realize, dang, but he just is, but he just as dangerous as these other dudes. But he a nice dude. Yeah, but the difference is I don't carry it on my sleeve. I'm just a well-meaning person. I'm a very nice, well-meaning person, and I don't carry it on my sleeve. You know, I don't walk around with a persona. You know, but if I take it there, you'll be so surprised. You know, most African people, how they respond is, "Wow, I like how you handle yourself. I like." That's how most street dudes. Once they see me, they in action. Yo, I like how you handle yourself. So people have seen me in action here in New York and California, and when people see me in action, and it's nothing, and people could do what they want to do to me, and I can do what I want to do to people, and it's no training wheels, you know. We ain't in no buildings, we in the streets. When people see me in action, like, oh wow, okay, I ain't know you was like that. Well, they'll say, well, yo, I like how you handle that. Yo, I like that. That's how black people talk. Yo, I like how you handle that situation. So I like how you handle that. Like, I'm not doing it for that reason. You know, I'm not doing it for that reason. You know, I'm a balanced man. I've been a married man. I've been married. I got a kid. You know, so I just use good principles, good understanding, and I always come out on top in all situations. 99.9% of my situations, I come out on top. As far as public opinion, popular opinion, you know, and even this situation now with these witchcraft people, I'm coming out with popular opinion because, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be popular preference because, you know, people gonna look at it my way. Like, okay, you using straight principles. You playing it by the book. That's how you gotta do it with these people. You can't use no emotions. I'm gonna play it by the book. Okay, you came out here playing with somebody. You ain't had no charges. You ain't really, you know, you ain't had no receipts. Boom, that's already a red flag already. That's the major red flag. You know, how much further can you get beyond that? You know, you ain't really got nothing on this person, so what can we say? That's why I know the streets ain't gonna be involved. The streets first thing the streets gonna ask you, the real streets, they gonna ask you, okay, so what kind of charges this dude got? Or is he got warrants? Okay, he ain't got no warrants. He ain't never had no charges, like weird charges. So where's the receipts? That's everybody gonna say. So it's just hearsay. What these people saying? Oh, nah, bro. This situation is too big for it to be no receipts. I want to see some receipts. That's what most street people gonna tell you. Nah, I need to see receipts, bro. And that's that. And the streets gonna look at it just like that. So guess what? The more I keep talking and they ain't got no receipts, I'm gonna become popular preference in this situation because I'm talking all by the book, just like with that. That's by the book, and going from there and just keep talking by the book. That's all I gotta do. Because people that's not aware of the streets is not gonna use the book. They don't know what the book is. I know how most people gonna think in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Is it manipulation? No, it's not. It's being a good street politician. I know if I mind my business, you don't care. Whatever it is. And that's not manipulation. It speaks for itself. I'm minding my business, bro. If I did do something in the past, you don't see me doing nothing now, do you? I can win with that. You don't see me doing nothing now, do you? You don't see me out here bothering nobody now. Do you see me as a physical threat to your family? I'm point A to point B. You don't see me lingering around, hanging in backyards or doing something sketchy in these neighborhoods where I'm around your family or looking in your houses. You don't see me doing nothing sketchy, right? Okay, so then off the strength of that, I'm good. With most black people, that's gonna be good. We ain't gonna go too much no further than that because we ain't no saints ourselves. You know, we ain't perfect ourselves, so I mean, I ain't gonna pick you apart. You know what I'm saying? I mean, long as you ain't out here in these streets playing around somebody in my family or you know in this and we ain't got no receipts on that, then maybe you could be thinking something crazy. I'm smart enough to know, but I don't care because it don't affect my reality. You know, long as it don't affect our reality, we don't care about it. A white boy come in and talk about psychology. You know, a white boy come in and talk about what's on somebody's mind. You know what I'm saying? I gotta come on, man. We don't care about that. That's what we talk about. We don't care about nothing about what's on somebody's mind, bro. Who cares about that? Who is arrogant enough to be even doing something like that? Not even the streets. Not even killers, man. I'm telling you, not even killers do nothing. They don't do nothing like that. I'm talking about certified killers that done caught bodies. They ain't worried about how a man thinking. Long as he ain't touching nobody. Me as a man, I'm gonna tell you something in America that you might not know. Every real man that done moved around like I have, New York, the West Coast, Florida, you done seen a man look at a child in an inappropriate way. You done seen a man's eyes, you done seen a child. Real men know what I'm talking about. You done seen a man, his eyes follow and look at a child, right? And you smart enough to follow where a person's eyes go to, right? So you don't gotta really. It don't take a lot of effort, do it, right? You don't follow somebody's eyes without really doing it, and you don't see, especially if you're a street person, right? You don't see some kids over here, and you're looking at this person's eyes, and he's looking at the kids in an inappropriate way, not being guarded and pure like us. You know, he looking at the kids in an inappropriate way. You ain't never seen nobody do it. I have. I see where the person's eyes is at, and I'm like, ugh, what is it? And you just shake it off, right? Man, listen, if you done moved around as a man, you can't tell me you ain't never seen a man look at children in an inappropriate way. I can't do nothing about that. What I'm gonna do to him? You can see where his mind is at by what he looking at. But what can I do with what's on his mind? And we can tell what's on his mind because where he looking. I don't have to figure it out. I can see he looking at the kids, right? That's a different situation. But if you don't see me looking at nobody, how you gonna say what's on my mind? But I'm smart enough. If I see you, I'm smart enough. If I see you looking at the kids, I'm pretty sure in a certain way you thinking something weird and sketchy, right? And real men can tell you, yeah, I have seen a man do that, you know what I'm saying? Whether I was walking in the crowd or walking down the street, more the times than not, right? Around a bodega, around something, and then it just didn't seem right how that person was looking at a child, right? But I just shook it off. Men gonna tell you that happened, yo. Ain't nothing I can do about it. What I'm gonna do? Man, listen, I know I ain't the only man that's seen somebody do that. You seen a dude look, and let's just say the girl's a little older, especially them, and you seen them kind of look at the girls. Come on, bro, be real. You did. But what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say, yo, I'm gonna beat you up because you just looked at the kids? No, I'm not gonna do that. Nobody's gonna do it. See, white people need to hear this. The street, you know, these Americans, you need to hear it. Ain't nobody, I ain't beating up nobody because I seen his eyes look on these girls. No, I know what I saw, but I ain't doing, what I'm gonna do about it? I'm not doing nothing. That's how the real streets gonna think. I'm not, listen, I might not hang with this person. I might distance myself from this person if I see him do that. Yeah, I probably would. I wouldn't take him seriously either, as a man. because he don't have the same value system as I got. But am I gonna beat him up or worse or kill him? Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Listen, man, I hate to tell you, man, but we live in a world where people do this stuff anyway. That's just reality, man. You know, I'm not saying I condone it or I would, you don't try to stop it, but see, there's a white boy mentality that's always been in our community, and it ain't just with these kids. It's also with you know, in general. You know, he act like he the police in his mind. Even if he ain't the police, and you know he want to bring people to justice and all this kind of stuff. See, white people are influenced by that because they was mostly the police back in the day. So white people influenced to like have these radars where we trying to bring people to justice and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? With black people, we on the other side of the justice system where we illegal, so we stick to codes. You know what I'm saying? We don't talk on nobody, and if we ain't got no charges, we ain't talking about it. So you got two different races of people on one different sides of justice as communities. And the thing about it, here's the punchline: being that it's humanity in America, they gonna contradict themselves too. But white people will not admit their contradictions, but because they're influenced to be on the side of the white side of justice. So in their families, they got policemen, judges, and they got to hold to this certain attitude. You know, they got to do certain things to get the approval of their family. You know what I'm saying, and everything. So, and then they gonna have this kind of, you see what I'm saying? This kind of this face, this front. Like they because they influenced by the police and their family. Like I'm a upstanding citizen. I try to do the right thing. You know, most of these white women gonna walk around like that in their family. Like, you know, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to get myself together. But it's a front. You really ain't. They really not. You know, they got to play it like that. We don't. You know, if we just are losers, we just are losers. And we don't care, you know, and we live any way we want to live as black people or whatever, and we don't have to hold to no certain fronts like they do. So my point is, with these fronts, if you will, you know, it goes all the way up the ladder in the white community, and they don't want to admit when they wrong, and they doing everything that they doing. See, they influenced by these police and their family. So they gonna hold to that I'm an upstanding citizen kind of thing going on, and you know, they influenced by them cops. I'm telling you, and they are, because they got them all in their family. Think about it. So culturally, they're gonna be influenced to say, I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm doing it more than us. They're gonna be more conscious of it. So then, when we come to these real issues, they're not gonna admit that they contradict themselves. They marrying children. See, you tell these people that's been putting up the front this whole time, y'all marrying children. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. So then I don't take them seriously. I don't take you seriously. Sure don't. And that's where it's really at. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna, so then what kind of conversation and dialogue could we really have? We can't have no dialogue. And that's where it's at. You know what I'm saying? See how that's the checkmate? We can't go no further. You know what I'm saying? That's just like in chess. Once I checkmate you, I can't make no other moves. That's the checkmate is the last move. I can't make any other moves. And now once I checkmate you, I don't need to make any other moves. Now I'm moving on. That's why I don't talk about that stuff no more. You know, I'm talking about strategies. You know what I'm saying? Working spiritual warfare. You know, because that's food for thought. Once you checkmate somebody or someone or a group of people, you don't have another move to make. You can't go no further. You won, you win. Now you're immortal in the situation. You're immune. You have immunity. Which means if you try to, especially if it's on the same subject, if you try to call me out for something, I got immunity, man. I checkmate your whole community on this stuff. You see what I mean? I checkmate your whole community. I can't make any more moves to prove anything. I won. I don't need to prove anything more. And when you try to play with me, I got immunity because I checkmated you. You see? That's how it goes in the real world we live in. Now, if you choose not to play by those rules, and God is all wise, He know the rules that men live by. God knows all things. He know what men respect. He know what men respect. He know how men look at things. And so God expect you to realize I won. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why now, man, we fight with spiritual weapons. Like one thing I can't stress enough, man, is you can't come in the jungle, in the streets, and play with the streets. Nobody can do this. Tupac couldn't do it. None of these thugs can't do it. They all get put on a t-shirt on the wall, buddy. You can't do it. And I feel like that if the streets don't owe them anything or don't owe this situation nothing, you owe them the truth of how it really is. Because they look up to you more than they look up to me. I know I done been around killers and everything. So you know, I know a little more about the streets than they do. But you need to tell them, you need to let them know, man, that what we respect. And if you make mistakes out here, sometimes you can't outlive those mistakes. You're just not gonna make it. In a chronic case, a bad chronic case of being out here playing in people's face, now you look around and you look at your body and your flesh is gone. You're dying. Because it's no way you could in the streets you could survive doing that. You can't. Nobody can. Nobody. You can't come out here playing in the face of the community, man. Like, nobody can do it. And that's what I expect the streets to stress to these people, man. You know what I'm saying? Please do that. Because, man, they thinking they bad, bro. So I feel like y'all owe them. I'm gonna put it like this. Based on some of the people from the streets taking their money, and it's no secret that they took money from the Freemasons and Illuminati, I feel like the streets at least can give back by really giving people the real energy of how these streets really move, bro. Stop letting them alter things and play with things. Let them know, man, listen, bro, we never done nothing like what y'all done in the streets, right? And that's not I'm not saying that in a positive way. We never played with the streets like how y'all doing this, right? It's no way we could condone it or let you, or you're not probably gonna survive. It's just too much evil out here for you to make it. And you thought it was me, but it was you. It's y'all. You can't survive like that. You can't make it. See, in the South, we call it reaping. You reaping. You can't run from reaping. When you reaping, you can't run from it. You're reaping what you sowed. We call in the South, we call that reaping. People reaping. You done so much. You reaping, and everybody can see it. And see, that's the spiritual people in the South. See, I grew up around people talking about witchcraft. I'm from the South, man. We grow up around witchcraft. That's why it don't bother me. I'm just showing you. See, for many black people that might be in the big city or something like that, witchcraft is kind of like new to you in your mind. That's why you invited it. But me, as a kid, I knew about people putting roots on people. That's what we called it in the South. You put roots on somebody. That's hoodoo. That's what it is. Hoodoo is when you put roots on somebody. That's what that is. Okay? Now, voodoo is what the Haitians use. But some Africans could use it too. But they usually use hoodoo. Then you got obeah. So you ain't think I was that sharp, bro. You got obeah. I know about Papa Lepo. Blanc Donnie. The Grand Zombie. You didn't think I knew about Papa Leber. See, now you see what you're dealing with. I know about Papa Leber, Block Donnie, and the Grand Zombie. I'm fasting against the Grand Zombie, Block Donnie, and Papa Leber. I'm fasting against Papa Leber. You see where I'm at? And you can't unhear that. You know, you see what level I'm on. You know what I'm saying? So you can't act like I'm one of these Christians that don't know about Papa Leber. I know about Papa Leber. I know about Block Donnie. I done seen witchcraft people put work on people and talk about it on the internet. I know all about the new culture of witchcraft. So I'm just letting you know who I am, because you'll think I'm a good old choir church boy and I don't know nothing about this stuff that y'all doing. That's what I'm saying. I know about Papa Leber, Block Donnie, the Grand Zombie, and all of that. I know all about that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't even know what that is. What those entities are. The Grand Zombie, who is that? Block Donnie. Papa Leber, who is Papa Leber? I'm talking about voodoo, buddy. You got 4 different types of voodoo practitioners. You got voodoo of water, earth, air, and fire. And a voodoo practitioner is going to gravitate to one of those elements and become a master of one of those elements. Okay, and Obia, that's witchcraft with the Jamaicans, the Bajans, the people in the Caribbean. And I think that's influenced by some Native American witchcraft and even West African witchcraft in there. Okay, so I know about Obia, I know about hoodoo and voodoo. You got some Christians don't even know what hoodoo is. Hoodoo is the main most popular witchcraft that black people use. Okay, where they talk to the ancestors and all of that. And they connect to the ancestors. That's why many people who practice hoodoo do not believe that white people can practice hoodoo, because it's talking to the ancestors. So I know that much, that they protect the craft of hoodoo as far as non-black and Hispanic and Latinos coming in. They'll probably let them come in probably. But white people, they don't let come into practicing hoodoo, right? So they use Wicca. You know, white people use Wicca. I know about that. And other forms of pagan witchcraft that they use. And so and Hispanic and Latinos use brujeria. See where I'm at? Hispanic and Latinos use brujeria. See, it's a lot of, I'm telling you, now, let's be honest. You don't know a lot of Christians that's on this level. I just broke it down in 5 minutes. What everybody doing. Brujeria, you got the brujos and the brujas. The brujos is the warlocks, and the brujas is the witches. You got the brujos, the brujas, and in brujeria. You got Santeria. You got that too. And you got different other forms of witchcraft down in Latin America. So I know about all of that, man. You know what I'm saying? I know about that. You know? So as you can imagine, that's how. Now, with that being said, that's how I see the world. You get it? In my position as a prophet in that world, in the whole spiritual world, right? In my position on God's side, I was dating somebody that was from Honduras that worked voodoo, and they said they seen this good spirit around me or something like that, African spirit or something to that effect. I forgot what term he used, right? So I done been with people that I'm from Honduras that practice, this dude that's from Honduras that practice voodoo. So I've been in the presence of people that do that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to show you. So I'm more advanced in the conversation to where I'm not just, oh, witchcraft, and I'm just stuck there. And it's a lot of people that's like that in America in general. They just stuck, oh, witchcraft, like, and I done been around people and talk to people. You know what I'm saying? And so when you realize that, okay, I'm a lot more advanced than you realize. So then you know my threats is real, bro. Like like even in witchcraft, you broke rules. You know what I'm saying? Listen, yeah, you did, bro. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you what you did wrong. You let white America pimp out witchcraft like gangbangers and thugs, and got these people using witchcraft like they gangsters and gangbangers. You can't use witchcraft like gangsters and gangbangers. The reason why, because you have to account to all that you put out. Old school witch gonna tell you, you gotta account to everything you put out. Not half of it, all of it. So if you put out this stuff on this prophet, and an old school witch ain't gonna have, I guarantee you the old school witches didn't have nothing to do with it. As soon as you told them I was a prophet, I guarantee you an old school witch said no. That you probably had more respect for it anyway. They didn't get involved. You know why they didn't get involved? Because they know that got to come back. So you got to use a special type of little dumb witch that don't care. Don't care about the rules. And it don't make them tougher. It make them foolish, right? Because when that bounce off of me, it got to go somewhere. That energy got to go somewhere. And guess where it's going to go? It's going to go to your country. That's how I lined it up. Everything that's going on in this building, now that you see how advanced I am as far as my understanding on witchcraft, brujeria, obeah, hoodoo, santeria, all of that being used, I'm channeling all the repercussions to the Americans, to all these people. So you're working for me. If you're using witchcraft against me, you working for me. I'm gonna turn that around on the Americans. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, why focus on you? I'm gonna turn it around on the Americans. So now you see, I'm a little more advanced than you realize. I sit up and listen to people that practice hoodoo and all, you know, and just let them talk about their craft and everything. I done that. I done talked to people that get paid for their services and talk about what they do, the spiritual work that they put on other people and everything like that. The rivals in witchcraft, which a lot of Christians wouldn't know about, that ain't on these levels, that, you know, you got witchcraft rivals, people that work witchcraft that rival each other because for fame and fortune and money. Which you should understand that it's going to be carnal things, you know, worldly things, material things. I done seen with a warlock talk about another warlock and online and shit, you know, talking about how he on, you know, how they, this is dude getting paid for their services though. This ain't no dusty ones that just talking. These dudes getting paid for their services, right? Them type of dudes. That's all I really listen to. I'm gonna listen to somebody that's credible, you know what I'm saying? So I took time during the pandemic in 2020 to really, that was the time when I studied different denominations of witchcraft, hoodoo, voodoo, you know, and listen to people talk about their craft and what they do. And these was not people that's just putting up a video. These people that got paid to do this. They that good. And I talked to a witch online when I wanted to curse my brother. I'm just being transparent. I wanted him so bad. I went to a witch. I wanted him so bad. I went to a witch, and I told her my story. I told her everything that happened, and she told me that she'll charge me $700 for that. I'm guessing based on what I told her. And she was like, "That's you gonna have to save $700." And so that's where I left off. So I actually talked to a witch to get paid for their services and everything, and they're talking like this right behind the camera, just like I'm talking, not raising their voice, not none of that, just getting paid for their services, everything like that. And so I had a lady I was listening to and talking to. See, that's what you don't know about me. See, you might think because I'm a prophet that I didn't go into darkness, but that always happens. That's just what happens because the prophet has such a rugged path. We gonna even go into doing things you wouldn't expect us to do. That's why if you tell me you dipped and dabbed in homosexuality and witchcraft and you a prophet, it wouldn't be abnormal for me. But for some people, they think about a prophet in the sense of this perfect person, like a messiah, like or something. That's not what it is with a prophet. A prophet gonna go through a dirty, nasty path. Rugged, funky. That's a prophet. That's what you're gonna see. This person go through hell, all kind of stuff, funkiness, man, all kind of stuff. That's what you're gonna see. So you talking to somebody that know about what it's not. See, a lot of people here in this building or in this community, in this neighborhood, would probably thought I was just a novice. I didn't know anything about witchcraft. I never talked to a witch a day in my life. I have talked to a witch before in my life, where I wanted her to curse somebody. And I would say she was using hoodoo or voodoo. I think it was hoodoo. Yeah, I think it was hoodoo. Yeah, if I had to call it, because I don't remember her really talking about voodoo. And she was African American too. So I think she probably was practicing hoodoo. But she was convincing to me. She was convincing, like, because she was just talking just like I'm talking, just laid back, telling you what she do in her craft and everything. Just talking in her house, just talking from the heart. And just talking about what she do. Not a hideous type of person, not a mean, nasty person. And that's what some people don't know about witches. See, that's why I understand witches better than the average person. They ain't gonna walk around like, I'm a dad. That's a stereotype. That's a witch trying to show off. Like last night, I think it was a witch. Now that I think about it, that white woman was a witch. You know what I'm saying? But she cheated, especially, no disrespect, but as far as white people go, but her being white, she probably gonna, they gonna, how they can be corny sometimes. So even though she practicing witchcraft, she gonna be loud and rambunctious and try to let you know that's what she do. And then, but black people can be laid back with it. You know what I mean? These days, see, what you need to know as Christians is that you got witchcraft people that look just like you. Just look just like me. They wear all designer clothes. They wear Gucci, Louis Vuitton. I know about that generation of witchcraft, and some people don't. Some of these preachers and some of you Christians do not know about the new generation of witchcraft, how they look. Not like Gothic. Most Americans only could pinpoint one type of witchcraft genre, which is a Gothic influenced type of witch or warlock. That's the only ones you can pinpoint. That's the only ones you can pinpoint. All black this. I mean, you could probably say that person looked like a witch because of the all black theme, right? But in black culture, witches and warlocks they wear designer clothes. Gucci, Louis, all the stuff, man. All the stuff, bro. All the stuff, bro. All the designer stuff. And that's what they gonna go after. They gonna spend their money on that. Cause they want to look like a success, a walking success. Think about it. If they trying to sell their craft, they gonna wear Louis, Gucci, all this. They gonna look fresh, so people will believe in their services. You know what I'm saying? That's common sense. You know, so I understand. Like I've even went over and talked to a witch before, so it's not something that spooks me. Is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm on a level where I size it up in the real world, and I've sit up and listened to witches and warlocks online, you know, that really get paid for it. I done seen people do rituals, put things together, and do rituals and all of that, man. I'm just letting people know, man, because it tells you where I'm at. I'm not at the place where, oh, I don't really know what's going on. I'm oblivious to this. I'm oblivious to that. And I can tell when I'm around a witch. I can tell the telltale signs. You know, you can hear it. You know, I can hear a witch even outside in a building. I can tell by their movements. It just sounds a certain way, you know. And so that's the level I'm on. I've been around so many witchcraft people. I just know the sounds of witchcraft people. It's just a whole community, and you know the only way we gonna beat them is fasting and giving offerings. That's the main way. See, now you see what you opposed. You opposed the educated person. You know, and I even did, like, once in between that time when I reached out to that witch, I even did my own rituals at one time, but I didn't do it to Satan or anything like that. And I did the basic, what people might think is elementary, which was like putting people's names, writing them down, and putting them in a bottle and freezing it in the freezer. That's the ritual I did. Then I found out, besides the freeze ritual, you can do the urine. You can do that with urine and freeze the urine. Put the name in the bottle of urine and freeze it, and put it in your freezer, and it'll be even more potent. So I did that too. I'm just being transparent, because when I went through gang stalking, a spiritual person like me, I needed answers right away. And when I seen all this stuff out here going on, you gonna draw from your own understanding. You want to get rid of this like yesterday, right? And many Christians will tell you, if they're being real, okay, yeah, at one time with the gang stalkers, especially if I could put a face with who started it, I actually did some rituals on my own, and they'll tell you what happened. For me, God was already helping me, and I got convicted by the Holy Spirit, by the Holy Ghost, to throw it all away. So I had like all these canisters in my freezer of names of people. The police, I put the police in there. I was cursing the police because the police was in my politics. So I'm just being honest with you. Tampa Bay police, Charlotte police, I cursed those two institutions. And I did rituals. But then the Holy Ghost told me, I got convicted and threw them all away at once. And I just trusted God since then. But then once I came out of doing that, mind you, that didn't happen in one day. I lived and slept like that for a while. But the Lord, I got a personal relationship with the Lord. The Lord didn't let me stay in that. So I walked away, right? I threw it all away one night. Everything. But when I came back to Christianity, I came back with a fresh approach. That everything is all about not rituals, but recipes. And that's how I started getting results. Because God began to show me how to do this, how to get spiritual results without using witchcraft. Because ain't nobody in their right mind gonna want to come to a religion where you can't get no spiritual reciprocity, where you can't get nothing done spiritually. Who's gonna wanna, I mean, if you understand, if you even have a concept of understanding spiritual reciprocity, you can't go backwards. You really, when you understand spiritual manifestations, you can't go back to religion. That's how you know I'm already turned out on that kind of understanding. I can't go back to religion where I don't get nothing done and I'm just reading hymns and I'm just this cool kind of good kind of person, but I don't have no manifestations in my life. I understand the spiritual world too well to walk around like that. So God showed me how to get spiritual results on his side without any rituals. I don't use any rituals today. I don't use nothing that you would consider witchcraft. Okay? And so I'm just being transparent with you. That's why, like, for me, witchcraft don't faze me or scare me, because to a certain degree, you know, I kind of know what's going on. I put it like that. So I began to use my spiritual mojo on God's side, if you know what I mean. And God began to show me the two things that I can do to get spiritual manifestations, which is to fast and to give financial offerings to good churches that's helping the people. Once I realized this recipe, I began to work it in different forms and fashions against those who opposed me. And I began to get results from God, giving to his church, and through fasting to God. When I did this, it changed everything. So I came back to Christianity with a spiritual manifestation approach, and it worked. And really, I was already on that, you know. But then once I realized how witchcraft gets down, I knew God's side was better. I knew he was harder, tougher. You know what I mean? I knew this side was better. I just had the wrong teachers, and God began to show me how you can use fasting and offerings. This is why I stress it. And see, many Christians don't stress it because they're not looking for no spiritual manifestations. They trying to they just do a little prayer and hope for the best kind of thing. And I'm too aware of the spiritual world, and I know God is great, the greatest, and it ain't no way in the world that I can't get no spiritual manifestations on God's side now. I just got to figure out where went wrong. Where did I go wrong? Where did these Christians go wrong? They went wrong with just being a religious person, like with your character, and then not taking the spirituality aspect out of the Bible and applying to their life. So that's how you'll have many politicians, as that's how they are. They take the Bible and they just choose to be like Jesus in their character, but they don't choose the spirituality of Jesus, where Jesus turned water into wine and Jesus did miracles and did spiritual things. They don't want that aspect, because that's when you begin to look superstitious, or you begin to look like you're crazy. So there's a politically correct Christianity that really took over America, and it influenced even the church. It influenced even Christians, to where you just choose the moral character of Jesus, but you don't choose the spirituality. The Bible puts it like this: they have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof. So you just have a form of godliness, and but you don't have any spiritual power. So I learned how to get spiritual manifestations. Now you can see I can approach you with understanding what you're playing with, because over here, that's why I stress to people. They don't realize what I'm telling, but I'm talking a language that they can understand, but they don't think it can be done. Now they realize it can. I get spiritual manifestations on this side. Like I told you, I done caught bodies on this side, and I don't say that in an evil way. But you're not talking to a religious person. You're talking to a person that has a relationship with God, and I'm just using the modern day term for it. But that's not celebrating it. I'm not celebrating that. But I have fasted and people died. I can say that, and that's facts more than one time. A lot of times, it's always something relevant. There's always somebody dead relevant from me fasting that I can tell you. The last person, it was like less than a month ago, and I'm not out here celebrating that. But if you fasted against somebody and they just died, what would you think? This is a human being. This ain't a plant, that just you uproot it or you don't water it and it just goes away. This is a human being. Okay? And, I fasted and something happened to them. They died. I remember one time I was in the building. This is why I make people aware in the building. I had just moved to this building, and there was this prostitute. She was a beautiful woman. Very beautiful, voluptuous Latino woman, right? Very beautiful by everybody's standard. You would think she was, by even black people's standard. Her face, everything. Because she looked kind of black a little bit. But I think she was Latino. She was Latino, right? But she had looks that appealed to even the black man, right? So I seen her one night when I had just moved to my apartment. But I figured that the Americans had sent this woman to live in this building. And she was a prostitute and she was a witch. I think she was. From the day that I saw her, 2 months later she died. But I ain't fast against her or nothing. But in that case, I think she was a witch that was against me. But I wasn't used to what I'm used to now, like these buildings set up against me using witchcraft. I'm used to it. So I come in thinking that, all from until I see differently. And I'm usually right, but at this time, I wasn't used to this kind of setup, right? I wasn't sure, but I was reading between the lines in that same situation as every day went by. But before that, before I came to the conclusion that a whole building was of witchcraft, which that building was, she died. mysteriously, and it hit the paper. It was so mysterious. It hit the paper, and she died July 8th, 2021, in the same building I was in, and her body was hanging off the bed, like half of her torso was hanging off the bed, and but her legs was on the bed, like she was leaning back off the bed. That's how she died. So because she died like that, I think she might have been high, and it might have felt good how she was leaning back or something like that. It might have felt good some type of way, and she just died. And then another dude, that same building, he used to clean up around the building, and he died. And those were two key major people in that building, in that coven. I think it was a coven. And then I think because I carried myself so innocently, like I didn't have anything to do with it, because I didn't, that people didn't really show any feelings towards me about it. But I do think it was on the behalf of my life, because I think those people was working forms of witchcraft, both of them, and more than them in the same building. Later on, I definitely am sure that other people were working witchcraft in the building. And so what they've been doing for me personally is, when I go to these housing programs like this, when I'm in now, they pack a whole bunch of witchcraft people in the building. And they don't think I know this. I've seen this pattern over and over again. That's why I know. So I'm in a building where they done this again. And what they do is they get a building small enough to pack it out with a whole bunch of people. Right? And so, because if you got a big building, obviously you can't man up the whole building. But if you got a small building, you can just facilitate it, if you will. No pun intended. You can facilitate the whole building with witchcraft. And so basically that's what they done here. They done this more than one time. But they didn't know that I was already aware of witchcraft already. I had already understood the different denominations of witchcraft, right? So like I said, people have died playing with me. People have died. You know what I mean? And it's been people that I focused on, that I fasted against, and they just died in a reasonable time frame of that fast. So what would you think? Think about it now. Nothing's really, even if something's wrong with them, it's still, a spiritual person still realizes the timing tells me it's the fast. Even though this person could have still died another time, they died at the time in a reasonable time frame within the fast that you was doing. So what's the odds that it's not that? That's why you have to take my fast, my spirituality seriously, because I know what I'm doing. Once I concentrate on you, it's over. It's over. You could die. Or somebody could die around you. The last person that was living in that room next door to me came out that room with blood everywhere. All his blood is still on the wall. I see traces of his blood still on the wall, because they put this person right next to me. They keep putting witchcraft people next to me, and they think I'm stupid. See, the person that they'll have in there now don't know they wasn't the first person. And I already know what it is. This particular room, door 19, they setting people up. I would be offended if it was me, because you're not telling me that this person is already aware of what. Because so as soon as somebody's next door, he gonna think it's a witchcraft person, and then once he see the signs, he gonna know that's what it is. Okay, so the last person that was next door that was using witchcraft against me, somebody came to his door and they got in an altercation or whatever, and his blood was everywhere, all on the floor, everything. And that's his repercussion for trying to work spiritual witchcraft against me. See, a prophet, I'm going to penalize you. If you. Now that I can talk, you see the language, you see I have understanding. If you use your craft against me, I'm going to penalize you to death. I'm not going to go back and forth like a witch or a warlock. Because they go, see, what Christians don't know is they fight each other. Unlike we don't fight each other with spirituality, because we can't. Because God is not going to fight his kingdom with another Christian. It's just that I protect myself from religious Christians and Christians that don't that will pray against me or fast against me because of what you heard. So I don't fight Christians, but I fast against those who are ignorant. You see the difference? Because they'll play it like I have spiritual warfare against Christians. No, I have spiritual warfare against Christians that are deceived by the Americans. That if you are deceived by these Americans and you try to fast against me, and I know the type I'm talking about. These patriot type of Christians, these white patriot type of Christians, especially the young ones, these wild kind of country kind of, you know what I'm talking about? Down in Texas or something. Yeah, I'm going to go on a fast. Yeah, I'm going to get that old guy. You see what I'm saying? So now you know why I did that. I have to cover my bases in a situation like this. If anybody that use spirituality gonna understand, if they got the whole community against you, what you gonna do? You gonna cover your bases. You gonna cover every base. Which means even these Christians that these people deceived, and I don't know what you told them about me, and they might feel like they need to fast against me. They need to try to rebuke me. So then that's when I fast against their fleshly ignorant works. Not them per se, but the works that they would speak in ignorance. That's what I do. But I love my brothers and sisters all around the world, including in America, all real Christians. Not the fake ones though, not the ones we can't trust. Not the ones that steal with the Americans, not the ones who steal with the culture. I don't trust them. I don't trust you because you can be manipulated, and that's the reason why I fast against the words and the fastings and the actions of these certain type of Christian people that will fast and think they doing spiritual things, God's service against you, against me. They'll think they doing the right thing. So that's why I do fast, and I can explain it to you why. Because my heart is in the right place. I'm not fasting against Christians to be fasting against Christians. What sense would that make? And I'm a Christian myself. But I'm smart enough, wise enough to know that they can be, in America, they can be manipulated, where these Freemasons or these black people will come and say he ain't got no love for the family or the community and all this little weird stuff that you would tell them, and they'll go on a fast against me. Or they may give an offering against me. Or they may start confessing words over my life, which is the equivalent of trying to curse my life. So I have to cover my bases with them type of people that walk in ignorance, that would just listen to somebody else, about another person. You got them type of Christians too, especially in the black community, that you took heed to the gossip. You took heed to what these people was talking about. Yes, you did. You took heed to it. So I can't trust you. Because you sat back and let it happen. You sat back and seen what I was going through and you didn't do anything about it. That's why I don't trust your Christianity. Ain't no way in the world like I see somebody go through what I've been through and don't reach out to that person. I don't care if I'm famous or not. I don't care who I am. I'm a Christian first. I'm going to reach out to you. I see what these stinking Americans doing to you. I'm going to say, man, I sympathize with that. Matter of fact, I'm going to fast for you to help you. If I'm serious. If I seen somebody like me, I ain't seen nobody that went through what I'm going through. But if I did, and they really voiced that they been gang stalked on a national level, like nationwide, I would do a fast for that person to help them. I use my spirituality for good. It's not just war either. So I would help somebody that I perceive to be going through the same thing that I went through. But I ain't found nobody like that. No, not that went through what I went through. You know, and then the ones you do find, they kind of especially these Christian people that been gang stalked. I had one girl kick me off her live because I was telling her that we have to go into physical war with these people, but I explained what I was talking about, that we got to use spiritual weapons against physical people. Okay, but her hang up is we don't focus on them with spiritual weapons at all. That's how I take it. I take it that she feel like we don't use any of our spirituality against these people because it's demons. So we don't target them with our spirituality. That's how I take it. That's not true. That's not even, I can show you in the Bible where the prophet Elijah cursed children, right? He targeted them with his spirituality. And so it's what level you choose to be on. If you choose to be on the low level, then you're going to cry, you're going to go through hell, and you're not going to get the results that you need to get these people off of you. I don't play with them. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the mood to play with them, then, hey, knock yourself out, buddy. Knock yourself out. But listen, you don't got to worry about me no more. Listen, from that person, that woman that did that, her name was like, I'm not trying to defame her, but her name was Brianna. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, she was biracial with long hair, and she kind of just sit in front of the camera talking about being gang stalked all the time. I just tried the reason why I even talked about it, because I was trying to help her. I could have just talked about anything. I could have used discretion and just said, well, maybe she a Christian, she ain't gonna understand about using spiritual weapons, and I could have just let her take the floor and just said all the right things, or I could have just talked about gang stalkers, and I'm smart enough where I could have just played along and just had the same kind of conversation. What we got to do about them, be cliche. We got to trust the Lord. I could have faked it till I made it on that, like that. But I gave her deeper information and she wasn't able to handle it. So she kicked me off her live. I went back. She ain't erased the video though. Maybe because she found it more valuable in another place, I guess. So I found the video, and I just looked at the part where I said the right things, and she was smiling and everything. I just left it at that. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be careful about putting your mouth on a prophet, bro. Like, it don't matter that you're a Christian, because I can show you in the Bible where when people put their mouth on Moses, a woman got cursed. She was a spiritual person too. It's the perfect example, because them people think they have immunity to put their mouth on God's people. You don't. Nobody has immunity to do that. That's why I'm very careful. I don't speak and just speak on somebody, and I don't even do that. If you're a Christian and you're a good person, I'm very careful with how I handle God's people. That's how I'm bred. That's why I don't have bad karma. I'm very careful with how I handle God's people. Because just because you're a Christian don't mean you can't get yourself in trouble, spiritual trouble. I practice what I preach, no pun intended. Like, I don't mishandle God's people. I don't play around them. It's not safe. It's not a safe practice. It's not a safe practice, buddy. Playing around God's people is not a safe practice. So, you know, I try to show people the way to go, the things to do. You know what I'm saying? And but if you decide to do things your way and you put your mouth on God's people, talking about Satan or calling them the devil, or, man, I don't know what'll happen to you. Some of the people got to go through, because once you do things your way and you're not listening to God, and then you wind up putting your mouth on God's people, God gonna send you through. Something might not happen right away, but I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen most likely. God is gonna send you through a series of tests to show you the same thing I was trying to show you, which is you use your spiritual weapons against these people. He's going to send you more people. He's going to send you more situations. And if you wind up making the same mistake again and putting your mouth on God's people, something's going to happen to you. Okay? He might not do nothing to you because of what you did to me, because he loves you too, right? But he going to send you through a series of tests that once you've done that, to most likely to show you, let me show you, stop taking it personal. I'm trying to show you something, what to do. This is what I've been trying to show this girl. Like I told her about fasting over and over again. You know how I know she's an amateur in fasting? Because she said, yeah, fasting does help. A professional warrior in God is not going to say fast. That the wording tells me everything about you. You fast you kinda fast. That's what it tells me about you. If I told you, if me and you started talking and you said, yeah, I fast, fasting is my lifestyle, this is how I beat these people, I know you're a professional. I know you're a person that's gonna win. But if you tell me fasting does help, that means you ain't really fasting. Come on. We smart. Come on. We all are smart people. If you use the words, yeah, fasting does help, that means that person is not fasting that much. But if I say, yeah, that's how I win my wars, buddy, salute. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we win over here. You know what I'm saying? I fast all the time. That's how I beat these devils. That's how I beat witchcraft. That's what I expect to hear from a professional warrior. You know what I'm saying? But if you say fasting does help, that's why your discernment is low. That's why you can't discern that I'm telling you. See, when you in the last days, if you don't fast, the devil comes in and blurs your discernment about who's who. It's great deception going on. And it's not going on in the obvious way. That's why you have to fast. See, the devil ain't gonna hit you in the obvious way. So the deception is more. It comes from a different lane and angle that you expected. It ain't gonna come like you thought. Where it's just a lie. It's a crafty deception against people like me. All these people talking. It's deception. It ain't nothing to see here. It ain't. I'm not no sex predator. So what we're dealing with is deception. That's what it is. That's all we dealing with is deception. It's a strong deception on the people. Now you can see it with the gang stalking. Look how they talk about you. They don't even know you. You ain't even done nothing. So how do all these people get rallied together? Deception. The spirit of deception. And when you're dealing with the spirit of deception, it's way worse. That's all I'm saying, bro. So you gotta understand that's what we dealing with. And that's a good place to fast about the spirit of deception. Because when we fast about the spirit of deception, the truth is gonna be made known. And you can't unhear it, you can't unsee the truth. So I think moving forward, that's gonna be a good place for me to fast about deception, because that's all they doing out here. Opening their mouths to saying stuff that they know is lies. Just to deceive the people. So when you fast, your discernment is high. And then this is what's gonna happen to you. This is just fasting in general. It's going to give you discernment. You're going to be able to see everything for what it is. And you would have thought, so most people going to think, I wouldn't have seen it like if I wouldn't have been fasting. Nope. You're going to come to that conclusion. If I wouldn't have been fasting, I wouldn't have seen all of this stuff. That's how thick the deception is. That's why these Christians in your family, you can't talk to them. You know why? Because they on the love train. Love everybody. That's a deception too in the last days. It's all about love. That's why they can be, how you think they can be over there with the strongest of devils And all these gospel singers and everything. And how can they be over there with the strongest of devils? Come on now. High-ranking people know what I'm talking about. How you gonna be over there with them type of spirits? Because there's a heavy spirit of deception, and you're probably not fasting. You're not fasting. That's why and once you start fasting, the spirits of those people gonna stick out. Everything they say is gonna rub you the wrong way, cause you in God's presence. You see everything. You see everything as it is. It's not hate. It's just a separation between holiness and wickedness. And when you fast, that's gonna separate you from it. And you ain't gonna be able to come back to it. You ain't gonna be able to have them same kind of conversations with them type of people. You ain't gonna be able to hang out with them. They ain't gonna like you either. This is how I know. When you fasting, they are not gonna like you. They gonna hate you. You gonna smell different. They can't stand it. Witchcraft people cannot stand fasting. That's what you gotta understand. And so I tried to help people to see this stuff. I try to help people to see it, but I can't hold your hand all the way, and all I can do is show you. All I can do is show you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm fasting, and I say humbly, I'm fasting right now. I don't say this for glory. I say this for educational purposes, to show you I practice. I practice what I preach, and to show you that it works. But if you're not fasting, your discernment gonna be so low in the last days that you could be over there talking about loving everybody. Next thing you know, you over there. Over there means over there with all these secular wicked people, secular people, all these famous people. You're gonna be all over there. Nobody's perfect, but the way I move, it's like you can't get me over there. You can't get me over there. And like I said, when you start fasting, they ain't gonna like your spirit, bro. I'm telling you, they not. They gonna smell it on you. You can't hide it, because demons behind them is gonna manifest and say, "Oh no, that's a Christian." That person don't see it, but they do. The demons do. A demon gonna say, "Oh no, that's a Christian," and that spirit gonna manifest against you. See, the ones that you think are Christians are not, and the ones that you think are not are Christians. And that is deception. That's deception at best. The ones you think, how they got them thinking you not a Christian? You know why? Because you ain't on the love train. You ain't on the love train talking about loving everybody no more. That part, you ain't talking about loving everybody no more. You in the prophetic flow where now God done separated his people. He done separated his people from the foolishness, from the uncleanliness of America. And so now with that being said, they gonna demonize you because they feel like you ain't showing love to their community. That's how they gonna get you. Because how else they gonna make a good Christian person look like a devil? Because you ain't showing love. And if you was a good person, you would have this heart full of love. You see what I'm saying? See, that's deception. That's how Satan comes in. Oh, okay, yeah. If you was a good person, you would have love for all these people. See how deceptive that is. It sound right. That's why everybody believe it. Yeah, that's right. If he was a good old Christian, then how he ain't gonna be showing love to these people? He should be trying to talk to them about the Lord. Not when God say don't do it. Not when God say stop talking. Not when God say stop intermingling with these people. And I can show you in the Bible where God separated his people from the community. See, it's no way. That's how you know who's righteous, man. It's no way a false prophet is going to talk to you about separation. Because his whole thing is to gather as many people to himself as possible. He ain't going to embrace everybody. So when you see me not embrace people that's trying to embrace me, that's how you know I'm real. Because a false prophet is not going to do that. Think about it. In the Bible, it says a false prophet goes out into the world, right? to deceive the people. Back to deception. He's going out to the world to deceive the people, right? And I'm paraphrasing. Okay, so then he wants as many people as possible. He ain't gonna say, oh, a false prophet, I don't want these people over here, but I want them. Bring them on over here, but not them. Man, come on. Nah, bro. A false prophet gonna have a following. He wants a following. I don't care about a following. And how you know for sure? Because I talk about things that I know that the culture ain't gonna like. I know these people ain't gonna like it. So see, a cultic person or a deceptive person let's just say besides being a false prophet, a deceptive leader wants everybody following them. See, if you're on the outside, you might have thought I was like that. No, I'm not like that. I don't care about you following me. You need to follow Jesus. It ain't no hope following me. I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I can give you principles, but my energy and spirit is a human. I'm a human. You know, you need to follow God. You need connection with him. He's holy. He's pure. Totally pure. Righteous. That's what you need, connection to God. Not me. I'm a man. I'm going to fail you. I'm human. You know, I'm human. I have limitations as a human being. You know, you might rub me the wrong way for whatever reason. You know, I'm going to fail you as a person. God is not. God don't fail nobody. So see, a real prophet or a preacher is going to lead you to God. They're going to tell you, nah, ain't no need to come over here with me. I can give you principles, but like just sucking on my energy, nah, you're going to find fault in me. You're going to find flaws in me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a human being just like you. So you don't need to get that close to me necessarily like that to where you like sucking on my nipples. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get something to eat. Now you can't suck on my nipples, but I can give that's funny, right? I can give you I'm gonna use that moving forward. You can't suck on my nipples, but I can give you some information. But that analogy shows you everything you need to know. You don't need to be that close to me like that, but I can give you information for you to live by. See, and I'm glad I'm expressing this because people would think that, you know, when they hear me say I'm a prophet, next thing you're going to think is I'm this narcissistic type of person that wants to draw these people in, and you can just assume that. That's just a normal human assumption, is that this person's going to be full of themselves, and then when you finally catch up to me and listen to me and I'm talking about all this stuff that's going on, you're going to be like, oh man, what's going on? Because you're not coming in at the beginning of this situation. This situation has been going on so long, bro. It's hard for me to slow down and explain why I'm even like this today. It's like, if you ever watched a movie, a TV series, right, that came on TV, like a nice one, like an HBO series, right? If you come in on season 4, you don't know all this other stuff. So let's just say you start watching it around season 4, and you just move forward and just keep following it, right? If you really become a fan of this series, you're gonna go back to season 1, 2, and 3 to see, well, how did this happen? How did that? Oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. So it's the same situation with me. I'm the type of person I used to get TV series. I get all the disc, get the whole series, the whole season, and I go through disc after disc. I know, you know what that's like. Okay, so it's the same thing. Like with me, if you come in on season 7, it's like season 7 now. You got almost World War III. So if you just come in and listen to me now, you're gonna be confused. That's the best way to tell you. Like, comparing it to a TV series. If you come in season 7 and I'm talking like this, you're going to be like, man, what happened? Why is he like this as a Christian? Why is a Christian using spiritual weapons against America. That's crazy. Because you just coming in. You're just coming into what happened. Now I'll take you back to season 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna be like, oh, okay. They started using witchcraft against him. They broke up all his relationships with women. They followed him all around the country. Wow, bruh. He wasn't even doing nothing. He was minding his business. He wasn't even living for God at the beginning. If I started this series, I come in about when I was prostituting on the streets. When I was selling my body on the streets. That's why I come in. So you can see where I wouldn't even focus on this stuff. I wasn't focused on no Americans, or I didn't hate America. I wasn't thinking about that. I didn't care. I thought like the most average American, black person too. America, fickle. They got their flaws. It's racist here. We can't really trust them. That's normal. But that's as far as it really went. And so at that moment in time in my life, I was prostituting, selling my body, getting money, enjoying my life, just having sex and having fun and getting money at the same time. Eating good, everything, drinking, partying, smoking. And these people came into my life from the hearsay and all the stuff that was going on. But that's where you would find me prostituting in. That's why I would bring it in, because you will see clearly from that beginning, it would describe my position, which was I was just minding my business. I was just living this wild life, and that's the best innocence in this situation, to show you I wasn't even living for God, where I feel like the need to fight these people. I wasn't even doing that. Because most people are going to look and say, well, if he a Christian, that's why he like that. Well, what about the beginning when I wasn't like this? I wasn't like this. I was prostituting. Do you understand? Okay. So I was prostituting, right? Here's the punchline. Intermingling with gay people and everything. Didn't have a problem with them or nothing. So you can't say that either. That's why it's another perfect reason why to bring me in at that point. Punch me in at that point, because you're going to see, oh, he was cool with gay people? Wow. Things have changed. Yes, it has. And now we on season 7. But season 1, I was hanging out with gay people, everything, chilling, smoking weed with them and everything, bro. And then they start being manipulated by the Freemasons and butthurt black people and butthurt white people. And listening to my brother, coming out here talking to the community and everything. And at the beginning, I was just still ignoring, oblivious to this stuff. I didn't really know. I used my intuition to know how to move, even with people that was in those positions where I wouldn't get too close to them, because my intuition would tell me not to really get too close or try to force relationships with people that was sketchy kind of, or something wasn't right kind of. Or they just weren't coming off right, and in a normal situation. But I still didn't put 2 and 2 together. And then as time went by, I realized I was being followed. That's how it happened, in that order. First it was intuition, seeing how I interact with people and they just kind of weird, just a little funny stuff. And then it went to people saying weird things to catch my attention. And then it went to being followed. Well, I could tell I was being followed by car convoys, what we call car convoys, these fleets of cars following me around. And you can't unsee that and unhear that. Once you perceive that, and it's true, and it actually is true, you can't unsee it. So then that's really when the war begins, is when you start realizing the car convoys, the cars following you around. If you've been gang stalked, that's the first thing you're going to notice. If you're really smart and intelligent, you're going to notice, nah, them cars don't look normal. All these cars riding around, that don't look normal. Well, for me, because I'm a prophet, God showed me. It highlighted, it stuck out like 3D. I realized, nah, that don't look normal. And then I started realizing they was in season 1, 2, and 3, they were using cars, gang stalking me like that all around the country. And so then, of course, once I seen that it was from Florida to California, when I went to California and I seen the same energy, I just went to war, like as reflex. I began to get back into my spirituality from that point. So that's what provoked it. But it worked out. I love God, and I always have. So I had a relationship with God before I was prostituting, and I went back into the world and all that and did those things. But what got me back focused on my spirituality for sure was when I went from Florida to California, and my discernment was telling me, like, remind you, I'm a person still trying to ignore this, like really trying to see, okay, is that really what it is? Like that kind of attitude, like, but I'm still doing me, you feel me? But I'm still thinking in the back of my mind, that little stuff over there is that really what it is? Like I'm peeping it halfway through the day, but halfway through the day at this point, I'm still enjoying my life, doing what I want to do. But then another part of the day, I'm kind of like, is that what that is? I'm giving attention to that. Like, is that what that really is? Like that. So then once I seen, and I put two and two together, and God showed me what was going on. Right? Once God showed me what was going on, I was like, I'm going to have to go into spiritual war against this. And that's how it started. 7 years ago. It's been 7 years for me. And which is not a long time. And especially not compared to how long they was gang stalking me. Okay, so that's how it happened. Mind you, I wasn't thinking nothing about no Freemasons. I wasn't thinking nothing about no police, not intensely. Anything they trying to show you, I wasn't thinking nothing about no black people on no, I didn't care about what, I was interacting with black people. I'm black myself, come on. Okay, so I wasn't really thinking about that until they started gang stalking. Black people start going with these politics. And that's just what it is, you know, and nobody don't want to take responsibility. Everybody want to try to act like it's just me and I'm just tripping. Nah, bro, nah. It's too many people that can vouch for me, for how I was living my life. I was minding my business, and black folks kept pushing it with these politics around my name, and I caught on to it, and I realized they had to be a big part of it, and so I'm gonna separate from that. And through the separation, they took it differently, and that's how the friction started between me and black people. They was playing in my politics. What you gonna do? God gonna separate me from them. That's number one. Number two, I'm gonna separate myself from them, and it was right for me to do it, but it was misinterpreted. That was misinterpreted, and it got taken to the extreme and everything like that. Like I'm some neo-Nazi black dude or something. I think I heard an insinuation of that, like I'm some Nazi dude against black people. It was ridiculous. Remind you, this is going all through Florida and these politics. And it came out all crazy where people acting like I'm a Nazi or something. I mean, you know, some people kind of corny how they just size you up, like thanking you like one, just looking at you, something like that. Cause they seen me marching through all them cities. I'm a soldier, and they took it like I'm between me not really dealing with black people at the time and me marching around. They took it like it was Nazi-like, you know. That's what formed in their mind. I think some people was thinking that, man. But that's ridiculous. Especially me coming from the South. So, you know, that's how it all started. And then I went to war in 2019, 7 years ago. This time 7 years ago, I just started the war against people who was opposing me. But I gave them, what you need to hear is they had like let's be very technical. They had like a solid 5 years from 2014. I count back definitely in 2014, something sketchy and weird was going on with the Freemasons. Back in 2014, I didn't respond literally, directly, not directly and literally until 5 years later. They had 5 years. They had five free years. Like a tongue twister. They had 5 free years. They had 5 free years, man. And that's how you know I was innocent. That's what you should expect me to say. I was just me, strong as you are, especially if you're strong. I'm just going through this. I ain't paying this no attention. I'm not picking on to it. I'm not catching on to it. I'm just living my life. Doing me. I'm a good personality, so I connect with people and everything, and I'm getting money. I'm enjoying my life. They was hating all of that. They was there. You feel me? But I ain't knowing it's this hating community, like watching me chill and get money, eat pizza, eat good, just get a pack of cigarettes when I want it, drink alcohol when I want it. Just chilling with people, all races of people, black, white, Mexican. You can't say I was. Go check my background. People gonna say, well, he was with us. Black, white, Hispanic, Latino, Asian. I was even with a Chinese dude. I was even with a Chinese dude. And all kind of situations, bro. Yep, it was just one Chinese dude, and me and him was hanging out and all of that, and so I embraced everybody. It was not nothing like what you see now. And so if you judge the situation now, you're like in season 7, where wars is in the Middle East and all of this, and ICE over the country and all of this stuff going on. If this was a TV series, that would be the details. After COVID, all of this, Donald Trump doing what he doing, starting a war in Iran. I mean, it's so many other things now that's making me feel the way I feel. You got to incorporate all of that, then add what the situation is and has been from the past, and that's how you see why I'm like this. See, a stupid person think I just woke up one day on one for no reason. That's how they acting, man. I was cool with everybody, and you could tell my personality, how I carry myself. That's how it was. It adds up. I like to talk. I'm cool. I'm chill. You know what I mean? And I was like this. When I came to New York, I ain't had nothing against New York. I love New York just like everybody else. Because it's like, you got to enjoy it. It's this big, huge world where you can it's exciting and it's fast. And I thought the same way everybody else thought until these people manipulated a New York City against me. Then I had no choice. You see? It wasn't that I just woke up one day on one for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not paying attention, they gonna paint all kind of narratives, man. Like I just woke up on one day. But it don't add up. Okay, this dude is cool with New York, he moves around. Okay, so then he ain't scared of New York. So then he must have been here an X amount of time, because he like the rest of us. He just here no matter what happens. I'm like everybody else. Other people probably think, man, it's so dangerous there in New York. But then you know really how to move, and so then you cool. You know how to move, you cool. You ain't gonna go out there and just post up. That's when you're gonna get your problems. If you sit around long enough in New York, that's how you're gonna get in trouble. Somebody gonna come out of somewhere. Because everybody gotta come out once a month. At least for food, they gotta come out once a month. And if you chill out there long enough, eventually, man, you're gonna get your problem. You're gonna get your problem. You know what I'm saying? So most of us these days, I know for me, I'm just, as far as in New York, I'm point A to point B. That's why I stay out of trouble, bro. I don't come out here and linger. I mean, I don't have no reason to linger in New York. It changed since I've been here. It's not the same. It's not like it used to be. It used to be great. You go to Lower Manhattan, that's where you need to go. I like clean, nice places. You know what I'm saying? That's my personality. I go down to Lower Manhattan. That's the spot in New York. I don't care if you black or white or whatever, man. It's nice. And then it's exciting. You can meet people and they cool and everything, it's just exciting. It's so many different ways you can meet people. That's how it used to be. Now, I don't know. I don't believe in none of that no more. Because I think it's just crazy everywhere in New York now. Since COVID, I think that just washed away all the good stuff. If that makes sense. All that good vibe and energy that once was in New York, it's gone. COVID did it. It washed every part of New York. Any little part you remember, any little neighborhoods that you was fond of, that vibe is gone. I'm gonna tell you what did it. COVID. If you lived here long enough, it's some part of New York that's in your mind that if you could live there, that's where you would live. If you walked around enough and you found a part of New York that's stuck in your head, like, wow, this is cool, right? That part has been washed with COVID. It's no longer like it used to be. None of it. That's what's so messed up, man. It's just like, that's why the gang stalking is just unforgivable. I can't forgive it. Because I know what y'all don't know. Now that you know I'm spiritual, and I've talked to a real witch and all of that, COVID came from all this gang stalking. That's what did it. This is a result of gang stalking. All this gang stalking. The Lord decided to allow that to happen. Okay? And you can tell, if you're spiritual, that it was a plague from God. It was a plague from all the stuff they was doing. Because they ain't just do it to me. I thought it was just me. And that's the next thing that happens. Then you realize, oh man, it's a whole community of this. See, that's the next step. You think, oh, I'm just going through this myself. And imagine me being a spiritual Christian. I'm thinking it's just me going through this. As this man of God, this prophet, this spiritual person. At this time, I'm thinking this spiritual person, I'm going through this because of that. Or something, something to that degree. But then I seen the whole community. I'm like, oh man. Now I put two and two together. All of that stuff happened with COVID because of all the excessive gang stalking. And see, how the world gonna know this? How these people gonna know? They ain't gonna know. They ain't gonna know this is why this happened. They ain't gonna believe it. They ain't gonna believe gang stalking caused this. It did. It caused all of this to happen. Now you see the origins. You already catching on that they started this next wave of stuff that's happening now, right? Then let's be smart and go back in time and realize they caused the wave of COVID-19. They caused the first wave of COVID. The first wave of what changed the world was COVID. They caused it, man. I'm telling you, I put my credibility on that, man. I know they did. You don't gotta believe in me being a prophet at all. You can say, if you can find me to be wrong, I know I'm right about this. It was a result of gang stalking. And they ain't gonna tell you that. It's gonna be our side that's gonna tell you. They ain't gonna tell you, yeah, we caused COVID. Yeah, we caused COVID. Yeah, that was us. Who gonna tell you that? Yeah, we caused COVID, bro. Hey, bro, we caused COVID. Hey, bro, we caused COVID. You think they're gonna tell you that? See, that's what you listen. That's what you don't want to accept. They ain't gonna tell you everything. They not. I'm telling you. They caused COVID, bro. Now you see what the prophet had to deal with. I can't tell Christian the church this. They ain't gonna believe it. So now the prophet in the last days of earth is stuck in this spiritual world where basically spiritual people believe more in what he's saying than the church, Christians. Because you have more of an understanding of spirituality. They don't. Most religious people don't have it. So, but high-ranking spiritual soldiers do. When I tell you that they caused COVID, you can believe it. They did, bro. They caused it. I'm telling you, they did, bro. I put that on my credibility. I've been saying this for years. You can go look up on my videos. I done produced videos and videos and videos that COVID came from gang stalking, from the Freemasons and Illuminati. Witchcraft community, they all caused COVID. They ain't gonna tell you that. Now you see. I would tell President Trump this. I would tell Vladimir Putin. I would tell anybody that you want to talk about. That just in case you think I'm pulling you into some crazy world, and I wouldn't tell them that, I would tell them the same thing. I am that confident. And that's what should make the world want to get rid of them. If the whole world knew the Illuminati and Freemasons caused COVID, whether it was directly or indirectly, we ain't talking about putting it up in the lab and all of that. We talking about as spiritual repercussions. Because if you believe in God, you believe that there's repercussions for everything that people do. Okay, and if you see how excessive gang stalking is, you telling me nothing ain't gonna come out of that? A spiritual novice knows, but even a novice knows better than that. That's what I'm trying to show y'all. You can't do all this stuff out here and nothing happens. That would defy spiritual laws, right or wrong. Man, listen, I just said a mouthful right there. That would defy spiritual laws that nothing happens from all this gang stalking. Nothing coming out of it. Only an atheist would believe that. If you are spiritual, that's why I'm just mind boggled. Like how, so-called spiritual witchcraft people don't understand that you using witchcraft like a gangbanger. You can't use witchcraft like no thug. That's the new generation of witchcraft. They mixed a little bit of the culture in the streets with witchcraft, right? And as far as their mentality, and they thought they was gonna come out here and gang bang with witchcraft, all around in car convoys, running around everywhere, all in the politics in the streets, and you thought you was gonna use this like witchcraft, like gang bangers. Bro. The main reason you can't do that is because of spiritual laws, spiritual reciprocity. That all that energy got to go somewhere. And in the spiritual world is going to bring back a judgment for those actions. Now you get it. All you got to do is be spiritual to get it, bro. And that goes for all the people who say they spiritual. Well, okay, then you should understand spiritual laws. Okay, so ain't no way in the world when you seen all this stuff that they doing, you think nothing ain't gonna come out of it. Come on now. So then what you think happened? Pay attention. What was the manifestation in reality? What happened? COVID-19 happened. Now you see. Now you see what happened. COVID-19 came and these people got COVID-19. That slowed down all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's how God designed it. God designed it to stop all this stuff. You see what happened? That's how God designed it. But they didn't stop at COVID. They were supposed to. Now you see what happened. Now you see, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm telling you this as a prophet. I'm not telling you this as my feelings and what some little stuff I think. And nah, bro. This comes from time. This comes from me sitting back, and it just is all just coming to me. If that makes sense, like that. And I realized, oh man, COVID came because of all this gang stalking, man. See, that once again, the prophet is taking you to another level. I'm showing you exactly what happened. Hold up. Now listen to this part. You the main people talking about, well, I want something need to be done about this. Something need to be done about this. Something was done about it and you missed it. See what I'm saying? God did do something about it and showed you how mighty he was. He's on the level you expect God to do it. He did it like that. He hit the whole world. Now you get it. That's why I got to keep my faith up and I can't trip like you, not thinking God ain't done nothing. See, I know better than that. I'm too spiritual to not know better than that. I'm too spiritual to not know what's going on. You got COVID-19 as a result of excessive gang stalking. Now you see why we mad at these people. Now you see what I'm talking about. See, I had to take you all the way back to the origins. Season 4, that's about season 4 right there. That's about season 4. Know what I mean? If it was a series, that would be about season 4. COVID-19. That's what happened. And now, and how it's supposed to work is the whole community, the whole global community is supposed to say, off with their head. Off with their head. We call Freemasons, Illuminati, and whatever else is like that to disband, cease to be in existence as a brand, or suffer destruction. That's the only ultimatum that you can give them. The only ultimatum is suffer destruction if you don't disband. That's good as it gets. That's good as it gets, bro. That's reasonable, right? Suffer destruction or disband. That's it. That's as far as you can go. And once you realize what they did, instantly you got to tell them, listen, man, disband or suffer destruction. That's where it's at. See, what you don't know about me is I went to the UN. Oh, they didn't tell you that, did they? Yeah. I ain't playing no game. I went to the UN. I sure did. I went to the UN. I got a complaint number and everything. I filed a case. I filed the case with the UN. I sure did. And I explained everything they've been doing. See, this is how far I am now. In season 6, that probably about season 6. Why I filed a complaint with the UN. You know what I mean? The United Nations. I went to the United Nations and I explained, I filed a case and I explained everything in my case. See, that's what Malcolm X did. When he was mistreated by the Americans, he was ahead of his time. He was doing stuff that you can't even compare, really. I mean, you can't compare him to other people, man. Malcolm X just was in it. He didn't feel all Negroes was profitable. He felt like you had good Negroes and bad Negroes, while other people would think we all can be together. We can't all be together. That's impossible, man, because you got righteous Africans and you got wicked Africans that's going to want to do everything their way. We're not going to be able to come together because they're going to want to do everything their way. They ain't going to compromise. Malcolm X was ahead of his time. He already knew all black people can't come together. No. You got house Negroes, you got field Negroes. That's how Malcolm X put it. You don't got just all Negroes gonna be good and profitable and everything like that. See, some people paint them ideals, but you haven't come to the conclusion that all of these people can't come with us. No, they can't. Nope. And some of y'all, your worldview is all of us, and that will never work. That will never. You see all this ignorance out there? That will never work, buddy. You see what I'm saying? So Malcolm X was just innovative in more than the average leader. He was ahead of his time. He went to the UN. He ain't try to talk to these people he know was against him, or go talk to the government or talk to some leaders. They could all be manipulated. So he went to the UN. That's the same thing I did. I ain't sit around. See, you thought I was sitting around crying in the corner. Oh, I just wish somebody in America would help me. I ain't do that. Every move I made, you know, I empowered myself outside of these people that you call Americans. I started looking to Russia and meeting talking to Russian people online. You know, I've been doing that for 7 years. You know, I didn't just sit over in no corner and just cry about this stuff. That's what I'm trying to show you. I went and joined the Russians and China and North Korea and started talking to, you know, and congregating among those who do not deal with America. I didn't just see, you see what I'm saying? I didn't just sit over in some corner. So I went to UN, I emailed the UN and told them what happened. I talked about the car convoys, the following around in vehicles, the position of the black community, the position of white America, and even some Hispanic and Latinos involved. I think I mentioned all of those elements because it's necessary. And so I have a case with the UN. So if the feds ever tried to play with me, I would just say the first thing, as soon as they take me, I'll say, yo, first thing do, go look up my case with the UN. Cause we gonna pull up my case with the UN, cause this is what this is all about. If you don't know what my position is against these Americans, and you don't know what they've done to me, I'm gonna show you that I'm a normal person. I'm a valid person. I'm gonna show you I'm not a terrorist. I'm gonna take you to my case that I filed with the UN, and you can read that all up. We gonna go as if for me to sign in, right, to my case on the website, the UN website. I'm gonna put in my information, and we gonna sign in, and you're gonna see why I have a problem with these Americans. You're gonna see what they've done. Instead of me having to sit down and explain it to you and write it all out, everything, I'm gonna go on the website of the UN, the United Nations, and I'm gonna pull up my case, and you can read all that whole case. And ain't no way in the world you could think I'm a terrorist, and if I go to the UN about the Americans. See, that's how I saved my own butt. Now that case is almost a year old, which looks that's credible. It's almost a year old, that case, which puts me in legit land. I'm legit, buddy. Yeah, once you got a case with the UN, they gotta take you seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so no matter what you thinking, this shows you why my mindset was the way it was. See, what I know about the law, which is what some people might not know, is as long as we can understand whether we believe you crazy or not, give us something. Give us something. Don't just sit here and all this stuff is going on, and you ain't saying nothing. And people talking about your position and talking about what you're doing, but you ain't talking. See, once you talk and let people understand where you come from, whether they think you crazy or not, that's still gonna be understood, right? Either you crazy or you not. They gonna either believe it or not. So, so like I said, I went to the UN. I went to the United Nations about all this stuff. I ain't sit back and let these people play in my face and didn't do nothing about it like some of these Christians. No, I'm on another level. I went to the UN. My name is in the UN. My case is with the UN right now. They done seen it, everything. So you don't even know who's out there investigating on the behalf of the UN. See, that's what my enemies don't know. That's how goofy you got. See, I went to the UN. You don't know who out there. Okay? And so, ain't no way in the world you're going to say somebody's a terrorist and he went to the UN. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. I just, listen, man. I just fought back. I'm a freedom fighter. That's what the UN probably would say. And once they see this is real, okay, what you gonna call me, a terrorist or a freedom fighter? You can't call me no terrorist. I just fought back. And that's the real narrative of the situation now, isn't it? Yes, I just fought back. That's not a terrorist. A terrorist don't just fight back, bro. A terrorist don't fight back. Like his story is he just fought back. That's his story. No, that's not the story of a terrorist, buddy. So you're forced to put me into a different category of person. I went to the UN, and that solidifies it right there. I ain't let these people play with me like you think I did. See, now you realize I've been doing stuff. Yes, sir. I ain't sit here just wondering, oh, woe is me. I don't know what to do. 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 Nah. I went to the UN. That's what I did. That's what I did. I went to the UN. Yes, sir. Because that's going to look good. If anybody try to challenge your character and your position, I'm going to listen. First thing I'm going to tell you, go look up, go contact the UN and look up, and here's my case number right here on my case, and go give them this information, and you talk to them and you see what they got and see what they done too, by the way. And now you see my position. You know what I'm saying? See, you just let the culture run wild. You know what I'm saying? You just let the culture run wild and everything, and this is just a product of the culture is out of control, and I fought back, and it spilled out into other communities and using other people, police, everybody, all this stuff, and I can see people, like I said early in the beginning of this video, I seen people helping last night, so I want you to know how smart I am. I know basically down Utica Avenue, you set up security where you use people to park and to scare away anybody that would try to do something to me. You had them up and down Utica Avenue. That shows you how how God shows me things. Okay? You use people up and down all the way up to Kings Highway so you can make sure I'm safe. How I know, once I left, some of the cars that were parked started trailing off. So that lets me know you was there on purpose, just to make sure I got up there safe. I know that. See, that's how aware I am of my surroundings. I don't gawk at people because that's how you get in trouble. So if you see me in the hood, you can put your head on a swivel, but it has to make sense, right? So you'll find a lot of people that just keep their head straight. And if you don't know what that means, because you ain't lived in real dangerous neighborhoods, then you'll misinterpret that You know, like a person might be a little off or something. Nah, I just keep my head straight because that can't be misinterpreted. When you looking all around, people just don't like it. And when you in bad neighborhoods, you looking all around and everybody's face and all of that. Nah, that's not normal. Normal is I'm focused on what I'm doing, walking through the hood. That's normal. I'm from point A to point B. You see fiends do it, you see drug dealers do it. Everybody just focus on whatever they focused on. They ain't looking around and all everywhere and everything, and that's how they think you're a cop right there. Looking all around and everything. That's just not normal. So when you see me, I walk up and down the streets, I just think like that. I just keep my head straight. You know what I'm saying? I don't disrespect anybody. I don't overly look at somebody and stare at people. That can cause problems too. I don't make them mistakes. Sometimes some people done stared at me so long that by the time I passed them, when I walked by them, I was angry. I was like furious. Like why was you just looking at me like that? And it's a lot of people like that. You done did it too. You done walked in front of somebody, and by the time, and they ain't know how to walk straight. That's a pet peeve for most black people. Okay, I'm on one side, you on one side. You already see me coming down the sidewalk. Why are you still walking in front of me? It's just something only black people understand. If we catch you walking in front of somebody too long, we don't take you seriously. If I see you walking in front of me and we like 30 feet away from each other, and you got all this time to slide over, but you still walking in front of me, I don't take you seriously. I'll be angry. In some cases, if you just still looking at me, it's just something that we got used to being like this. It's just how it is. You know, like, see, so that's how you know I know how to move out here. That's first thing first. You walking in front of people and everything, you rub people the wrong way already. They don't even, some people they say, yo, man, won't you watch where you're going, man? I done said that before. I done said it. You know? And you making them better too, because the next person might just hit you. You know, don't let them be on drugs and they think you trying to do it on purpose. Like, how can he know not to walk? He know that ain't how people walk around here. That's how he gonna justify it. So, you know, but even though I walk like that, my point is I've learned the art of still being able to pay attention to everything around me and kind of keep it in my peripheral, if you will. Keeping things in my peripheral while keeping my head straight. You know what I'm saying? Holding my head, keeping it straight. You know, so I seen, you know, that they had set up, you know, like this security for Utica that I could just walk through and be safe and there wouldn't be no problems. You know what I'm saying? Because see, that's how bad it done got. That's how bad it done got. That's what they did. They just sat there so I'll be safe or whatever. But see, that's a result of the culture running out of control. Ultimately, I want you to pay attention to what happened last night. At 12 o'clock on the dot, rain dropped and started thundering, right? You think that's a coincidence? It's not. That was God's protection. That was God sending warning shots concerning me. You know what I'm saying? This is why I'm loyal to God, man, because I can feel his love for me. I know that water, that rain, right at the time when I was going out, was to just discourage all the wickedness, all the stuff that was out there, all the gang stalkers that they were trying to put around me when I came out there. You know what I'm saying? God is good, man. You know what I'm saying? I know he did that for me. That's why I was thundering and everything. Letting you know his child is coming through. Get out the way. Move. Get out the way. You know what I'm saying? I don't come out there to bother nobody. I don't want nobody playing with me. I don't come out there to gang stalk or play with nobody's face. I don't play in people's face at all. You know what I'm saying? Before I play in your face, or you felt like I play I'd rather just spark up a conversation before you walk away feeling like I played in your face. Not because I'm scared, but if it's an awkward feeling between you, ever done that? If it's an awkward feeling between you and a person, or you might have looked at them a little too long, but you ain't mean to. You know, it was normal. You know, I might spark up a conversation or whatever, just to kind of let a person know it's all good. So that's how you know, man, I'm in my right mind, man, and all of this stuff, man. It's all foolishness, bro. You know, people play in the field and everything and think they can get away with it, and they couldn't. That's all. That's all, bro. That's all it is, man. So I just stay focused on my fasting, stay focused on my spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Get my spirit back right. You know what I'm saying? Like I sent money to Vietnam today. I sent money to Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, where the pyramids at. Yeah, I sent money to Egypt and Mexico City too, in Mexico. So I'm putting money out there. I sent $1 million to Vietnam. $1 million. We big. This the big leagues now, bro. Like, it's really about to start. It's about to start popping off. It's about to really start now. I done sent money to Vietnam. It took this, bro. It took this, man, because God been set these people down, man. God been trying to show these people over and over again, man, from COVID-19 to everything. You know, it's just like, it's not just me. That's why if I can't stress anything enough, is it's not just me. That's what they not gonna tell you. Cause see, if they tell you they gang stalking all these Christians low key, you gonna think, nah, I got an auntie that's a Christian. I got family that's a Christian. I don't feel that. Going out here gang stalking Christians? No, we don't feel that at all. Think about it. They know you as black people Americans ain't gonna feel that, period. Nah, we don't feel that at all. They got to go. Even if you ain't a Christian, you gonna still feel some type of way. Nah, they got to go, bro. Nah. That's going too far. We don't even do that. You know what I'm saying? That's how you gonna look at it. If not anything else, you gonna look at it like, man, nah, we don't even do none of that out here. So we ain't let nobody else do it. Not around us. They can go somewhere else with it, but not here. Not where we at. We don't see that. We don't want nothing to do with it. So they gotta make me like the poster boy for all this stuff, and then they ain't telling you that they doing this to other people. I count 2 other people for sure, besides myself, that I was in a relationship with that had no accusations, that had nothing wrong, they wasn't in wrong standing with the community. So then explain why they was gang stalked. Explain why 2 other people that had nothing to do with the community, that had no wrong problems with the community, explain why they was gang stalked. I count 2 people for sure. For sure. For facts. That complained about, once I told them what gang stalking was, because they ain't know the term, but once I explained it and what it consists of, one of my wives said, I go through that all the time. She said it, that's how I know it's real for her, because it's how quick she said it. Oh, I go through that. Like, she knew exactly what it was. Only somebody that's being gang stalked, that's paying attention, that keep their head on the swivel, will be able to say it that easily, like she said it. She said that on her own, without me being there. They was gang stalking her on her own, bruh. Okay, this was a normal person. She had no accusations with what I'm trying to show you, she had no problem with the community. She ain't had no brother talking about her like I got a brother. Talking about me. She ain't have none of that. So then why was she gang stalked then? So that's the innocent person right there, for sure. For sure, right? Okay. Second person, before her, I had another wife that said, I wish I wasn't gang stalked. She texted me this. I wish I hadn't been gang stalked. I would never be the same. That's how I know it was true. If you say something like that, I know exactly what she talking about. She said she ain't gonna never be the same. She was gang stalked, man. What did she do? What did she do to deserve that? And she's an upstanding. She ain't got no problems with the community. She's an upstanding citizen in the community. What does she do to deserve that? You see what I'm saying? So that's two innocent people. What I'm trying to show you, that were that believed in God, that was Christian, that believed in Christianity, and they did nothing. So there you have it. That's an innocent person. Besides these little politics around me, this is a person right here. These are two people I know for sure that did nothing that to deserve being gang stalked. That's for sure. That's for sure. I'm definitely positive about that. Now, there's others as well, but they'll make me look like the cultural poster boy for it, so you'll be deceived. You see what I'm saying? But it's too many people complaining about it. It's too many. And so you have to come to terms with what has happened. They have excessively gang stalked to the point that God sent COVID-19. They gang stalked so many people that you did not know about. You only knew about me. They try to make me the poster boy because I'm the strongest, right? So they try to make me the game, and you see what I'm saying? They try to make me the face of gang stalking. Right. But meanwhile, they gang stalking nationwide. Now you see, they gang stalking Christians nationwide, specifically, bro. Now, specifically, God sent COVID-19. That was the result. That's what God did. That's what He did. He sent COVID. So now you done caught up to the politics. Now you done caught up to the politics. What happened? That's what happened, bro. That they sent God sent COVID-19, and they didn't respond properly like they were supposed to respond. Okay? That's what happened. I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying? And that's why all this is happening now. All these wars is happening. That's the escalation. And I told them this. I told y'all this as an American community, that y'all gonna turn the corner one day and you're not gonna be able to go back to the old America. Like driving a car, you hit a corner, right? And as you hit a corner, what you expect to be on this next block is all gone. That's gonna be America. Now that's what it is. What you expect after the gang stalking and all the games, when you try to hit the corner and come back to like just chilling, or what you expect to be ahead, when you hit the corner that you expect to be in place, the things you expect to be in place, all out of whack. That's what happened to you as Americans. That's what happened to you. That's what happened. And I kept telling people this in exact words. Y'all gonna turn the corner of America, and you gonna, like you turning the car, like you driving the car, you hitting the corner, and you just know how you know the block. You know what to expect. You know it's a store over here, is kids over there, is grown folks drinking over here, and whatever else, right? You gonna turn the corner and there's nothing there, like that. Like, whoa, what happened to this block? That the America's that block. Like, yo, what happened to the block? What happened to this block? That's how New Yorkers gonna be talking. What happened to this block? Yo, what happened? Like, what happened to this block, bro? It's gone. Now it's setting in. Now you feel this surreal feeling that you can't shake, right? Like this is surreal. If I had to use any other term, for lack of a better term, this is surreal. Like this overly real feeling, but it's not real. It don't feel real, but it's overly real. But it don't feel real. It's like an oxymoron, right? It's like this overly real feeling that don't feel like this can be real. That's surreal. That's what it is. That's what y'all got into. That's what y'all got into, man. And I'm trying to show you, man, like when you think it can't get worse, it can. It can get worse. Just when you if you don't think it can get worse, it can get worse. It can get 1,000,000 times worse than this. Where you ain't got no running water, you ain't got no food, you gotta run and try to find water before you die. Cause the first thing that'll kill you is dehydration. You can go without eating for weeks. Literally, I know because I fast. But water is what's going a lack of water. If that's taken from a community, buddy, you will be running around here. Because you will have to. You'll be running looking for water, wasting no time. That's all it takes. That's how vulnerable we are as the world. If somebody hit your water supply, buddy, that's the quickest way to kill people. You can't last more than about 4 or 5 days without water. You know that? You might get it through Kool-Aid, or that's still water. Your body gonna extract through all that sugar and everything, still gonna get the water out of that. You know what I'm saying? You might not drink direct water, but you drink things that contain water. Like, you know, Kool-Aid and all these different juice drinks and whatever. And because it's liquid, obviously it has a certain amount of water. It has to. There's no other way it could be made to be liquid without water. You see what I'm saying? So anytime, whatever you drink has to have water in the context. If you go without that, whether it's soda, you know, with the ice, it's melting down, the water's melting down in the ice. You put a whole bunch of ice in there, you drinking water too, right there. You don't look at it, but you are. You feel a whole bunch of ice in the cup, and then most people just, without thinking about it, you just drink the water. Eat on the ice. You start chewing on the ice, eating on the ice. There you go. You're getting water without even thinking about it. So, you know, man, you know, if this community water supply is gone, it's over. I'm telling you, buddy, it's over. You won't, listen, you can't even live a week without water. You can't. And don't let it be hot. Don't let it be the summertime where you sweating. It's going to be worse. It can happen quicker. You can dehydrate. You can dehydrate quicker. That's how vulnerable we are, man. That's why you can't have evil. You need God to even keep you alive. Now imagine somebody looking at the times we live in and still being evil. You can't afford to be evil. You need good karma. You need good things to happen right now. That's why everybody falling back too. Man, listen, man. If you got a brain in your head, bro. If you got a brain in your head, this is not the time to be evil, because you need good spiritual reciprocity. You need good karma. You need good karma right now. You can't, as an individual and as a collective community. Yeah, you can't be out here doing evil and all this stuff going on. And then you get blindsided by your own individual karma. And then you gang stalking as a collective community and causing more evil on the community. That's what we talking about. Nah, buddy, that can't fly. That can't fly, bro. They gonna clip your wings, man. All this gang stalking, you gonna get your wings clipped, man. They ain't letting that fly around no more, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, people gonna start looking at that too. It's too hard out here for these bugged out people to be out here playing around with the community. It's too, I respect this man to defend himself. That's different. That ain't playing around with the community. And you can't Jedi mind trick us to make us feel that way. You played with him and he did what he's supposed to do with his spirituality, and it worked. So we definitely vouching for that. You know, because we would do the same thing. But you out here running around in the middle of the world where everything's falling apart and trying to be evil and all of that. Nah, we don't feel that at all. See, I know how the streets feel. No, they ain't gonna feel that at all, buddy. You can even get some of these white girls on your team, but some of these other white girls ain't gonna feel that. Some of these white girls around the right street dudes, they ain't feeling that. No, they got kids too, you know they do. We ain't feeling that. No, we got kids and all the people out here being evil, and I don't even want them gang stalkers around my kids. That ain't the right energy. I want all that weird stuff going on around my kids. Think about that. No, I don't want that going on around my kids. I bet some people said it, because I know how people think, man. So it's about to be a curtain call on that, buddy. It's about to be a curtain call. Curtain call on all that gang stalking. Curtain call on the Freemasons and Illuminati. It's a curtain call on that, buddy. Yes, sir. Because, I mean, what's going to irk people the most is it's already hard enough. That's what I'm saying. It's already hard enough. That's what's going to get people right there, bro. Right there, that's what's going to get people. It's already hard enough, and you out here making it harder than it have to be. Playing around people and everything. It's already hard enough, man. That's how most people gonna see it.